YouTube for some reason. Hey, good morning, Misfits. How are you? It is April 6th, 2020. It is episode 411. I hope everybody's doing well. Isn't that a cool picture? Welcome to my globally connected office. You want one? I hope everybody's doing well this morning. It is, it's a good day to be here. It's a good day to be awake. Hey, there's Fanny. How are you, Fanny? There's Louis in Puerto Rico, and Crystal and Stacy and Asha and RBP, Rhonda and Noah and Annie. And there's Leo in the top with the peace sign. Peace. Roz and Shedra. I'm probably saying that wrong. Good morning, everybody. There's Dana, and there's Bob Parks and Annie and Rob Cardenas. And Mr. Carter, great to have you here. And Darius.
Morning, Sean.
Good morning, Louis. Good to see you, brother. Good to see that smiling face in Puerto Rico, the sun rising.
Good to see you too, Sean. Hot
Thanks.
morning here. Yeah.
You know, what's the temperature, like 80?
Yeah, probably 90. It's very hot.
Bienvenidos a la Isla de Encanto.
Bienvenido.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Anybody have any, before we get started, go ahead and send out your 3 messages of joy, of gratitude, of love, of excitement, enthusiasm. And if you're new to the call this morning, I don't think I see anybody new yet. There's Brandon, good to see you. Love your little baby girl there. There's Jesse, good to have you here. And Reka in the UK. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good to have everybody here. Go ahead and send out your 3 messages to those people you love, you care about. I promise you, here's what I know. In 60 to 90 days, all of the efforts you do today will show up. This is what's happening now in your business is because of 60, 90 days ago. So think about what you were doing 60, 90 days ago in your business. And that's how long it takes for the shift to happen. Now, will it happen a little sooner with the high energies that are out there right now, the high emotional states, both stressful and joyful, both fearful and strength filled? Will those days change? Will it take a little less time for things to get enacted? I believe so, but you're still a good 45 days out. Anything you start today, it'll take that long for it to start to sink into your business. So I know I can go back to people who are on this call who have implemented stuff 35, 40, 45, 50 days ago. And all of a sudden, it's starting to sink in. It's starting to become the normal. So can you stay plugged in long enough? Can you stay plugged in strong enough to have your days begin to have the switch, begin to have the change? So anybody have any ahas, awarenesses, or awakenings that's happening to them? Anybody like, you know, I saw this the other day, and it was just, it made my mind kind of like just go crazy. I was wondering what was going on, this, that, or the other. So, and if you are new, we normally, to ask some questions, we normally raise our hand. And then I'll see it up there and I'll call on you, and we'll be happy to have a conversation. Here's my question for you. Somebody asks you right now, what do you do? What's your answer? What's your story? And today I really want to help you get that, because that question is going to come up with a lot more vim and vigor, a lot more, with a lot more emphasis on people paying attention to the answer. And so the question then becomes, if it's something you're going to do, if it's a story you're going to tell, what's the benefit they're going to get? Right? If you've ever heard the expression, start with the end in mind. So I like that. I'm a success creator. How do you do that? Right? If that's your tagline, and that's all I got, and I went to your social media, I went to your resumes, right? Your social media, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Snapchat, whatever, your blog, your YouTube channel. Do you have anybody that's saying, do you have any testimonials that people are saying you're a success creator? I'm not saying you need it, but people are going to check you out, right? This is the age of, I remember 3 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe people were walking into, Amazon, into stores at Christmas time, and they had this little code on their on their phone, and they would shoot a camera at a barcode, and they would find out if they could get it cheaper on Amazon. And stores were literally putting on their windows, this is not your Amazon. Go to Amazon if you want a bathroom or something like that. It was kind of crazy how they were like dissing people who were going in to try to find the best deal, or if they could buy it right from them and resell it on Amazon. So excellent. Yes, I share my success with, as well as others on my team. Good morning, everyone, by the way. Good morning, everybody. Outstanding. So the question then is that enough? Is that enough for people to help you enroll people, right? Your opening line should be enough for people to say, I really want that. Now, what you might do to just enhance that, I'm a success creator. You know how people are looking around everywhere right now to figure out how to find the easiest, most efficient, and effective way to build a successful income in their life right now. I and a group of people, we do that on a daily basis. We teach that on a daily basis. Because when we say I am success, somebody else goes, well, then I must not be. This is understanding how the story reflects and reacts inside of people's minds. It's not a bad tagline, but I am success. Now, if that's a daily, what is it, an affirmation, then that's cool. But if people ask you, what do you do? I'm a success creator. Oh, okay. Good for you. At the end of every question at the end of everything that you say, just understand that in marketing, when you're trained in marketing, you've got to answer this question. So what? That's the question that everybody who reads it at a subconscious level is going to ask. So what? So what? That's great. So what? I deal in international currency. So what? I teach people I help people how to alkaline their blood. So what? I build large international organizations around the world. So what? If you start to ask those questions at the end of every statement you make, you might quite possibly, you might take a look at your statements and adjust them and adapt them and adopt them so that the so what changes to, really? How could I use that? How could I do that? How could I be a part of that? Hope that makes sense. Does anybody, would anybody like some work on their story? How to help build your story, create your story? Because if not, I got some great questions I can read.
I would.
Okay, great, Brandon.
Me too, then.
Really quick. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to move this truck real quick. But yeah. If you want to go first, then
Lewis. Okay.
yeah,
So Lewis. Hey, Lewis. What do you do?
Yeah. So I've been doing like social experiments on my social media and just with me, with my personal development,
Right.
getting to know the mind and that behavior of humans and the way we act and why we do things. And I've come to really like that theme, that topic. And so I decided I'm going to, where is it? Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, to study psychology.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So I'm doing that, and I'm creating my story, and I don't know. So I'm doing it,
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I'm flowing, but I don't think I have it like this is what I'm doing.
Okay. So so you've got a couple of things that you get to leverage that most people don't. And that's your age, right? A lot of times when we're young in the business world, we consider it a disadvantage. So tell me how old you are again?
20.
20. So if somebody asks you, what do? You might be able to respond with something that could sound like, well, you know how 20-year-olds are trying to figure out which end is up, and they spend most of their days doing things that don't bring them back rewards? Most people, how many of us when we were 20 were doing things that we wish we'd have known? We wish we would have known what we know now because we would have been doing it then.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, you get to say, because the key is with telling the story, with connecting with somebody. The reason to connect with somebody is because you've got to get them into your life so that they can see themselves in you. They can at least understand and grasp it without having to turn to chapter 2 to understand it. So you know how 20-year-olds, I don't know if you remember when you were 20, but do you know how 20-year-olds sometimes seem a little lost in life? Well, what I've done is I've partnered with some individuals, and I've partnered with a company that helps 20-year-olds, but also 20, 30, and 40 and 50-year-olds find that track, find that path in life that will reward them for the rest of their life and teach them how to have a better day today.
Yeah, and that's true, because my friends, they're like, I tell them, like, I try to explain to them, but they don't have that mindset of being more than their circumstances.
Yeah, well, and the challenge is that their brain is still developing until about the age of 26. We think that it's, well, at the age of 7, your brain's pretty much set. No, new science says it's up until about the age of 25, 26. The brain is still developing and still getting to set in its ways. And then it takes a lot of effort to start to rewire the brain after that. So depending upon who you're talking to, whether it be another 20-year-old or a 60-year-old, right? You have a conversation with them to be able to say that, what's the thing that we know? What's the story that nobody needs to confirm? Nobody will doubt. Nobody will question about a 20-year-old. You know how 20-year-olds sometimes seem a little lost, like a ship without a rudder, and they're really not focused on creating incomes or creating, lifetime legacies. And yeah, I know. Well, I've partnered with some people who teach 20-year-olds, who help 20-year-olds to get onto that path of lifetime legacy, but they also help everybody, 20, 30, 50, 60, 70-year-olds do the same thing. And we do it very well, and we do it very effectively on a daily basis. Well, how do I find out about that? Great question. What would be the most important thing for you to find out about that, so that I could direct you in the right way? I could introduce you to the right people. One of the things that people who are young, you may want to take advantage of, is the ability to leverage other people.
Yep.
Right? So listen, I can get you in I can introduce you to some folks that I work with, that I mentor with, and you could ask them some questions, because if all of a sudden everybody thinks you're the one that's going to do the presentation, even though you may do it 10 times better than anybody else, that's a door that you've got to open, that I don't care how good you are. They may see it later on, but right now, the objection, the bias that anybody shows up with when they have a conversation with you. See, I can say things and people will go, oh my gosh, he's so smart. You say it and they go, he's just so ego. That's just the bias that people have when they think age is a requirement for understanding.
Yeah. But you know what I've come to found? That people actually recognize that my mindset isn't of my age.
Oh, absolutely. But then they think I'm not like you and I've got to do something different. They'll eventually realize how brilliant your mindset is.
They do, because Okay, I have the messages. They evolved from 3 messages you told us to send. I'm sending 468 messages daily, every morning.
Excellent.
And
And what's the return? What's the feedback that's happening?
good awakenings within my community.
That's awesome. And then what happens is that all of a sudden, if the law of attraction works, and I believe we all believe it does, if the law of attraction works and people wind up starting to sync in the same frequency,
They are.
then all of a sudden there's a movement that happens, right? Their personality changes because of their personal reality, and you get 400 people a day, 468 people a day who are being inspired, who are being motivated. All of a sudden, funny things start to happen where phrases like, "Oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe what just happened," those seem to become the normal conversation.
Case in scene right now.
Cool. Outstanding.
How
Brent?
do I feel?
How do you feel?
Like, I feel it's good, but
Yeah.
express, then what's tomorrow, you know?
Well, and the challenge is that when you start to send out messages in that amplitude, right, that volume, but also in the amplitude of the vibration, it's important that we begin to prepare ourselves for the joy that comes back, because the old self-talk, right, the paradigm shift, I can't believe it was this easy, usually comes around. And if it's this easy, I got to do something to work harder at it, right? You've not been steeled in the way of hard work get you good rewards, right? Because you're still young, you're youthful, right? You're sitting on a beautiful island looking at an amazing sunrise. All that to say, when this energy starts coming back to you, figure out how to continue to send it back out, right? How to share it. Because at some point, there's a tipping point to where the body just goes, okay, I don't deserve this. There's 3 levels of income. I'm not getting paid enough. I'm not receiving enough love for what I'm doing. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm getting this much money. I can't believe I'm getting exactly what I need. And then there's the extreme. I'm not doing anything for all of this joy. I'm not doing anything for all of this love. That third phase is very hard for people to live in, where they do it because there's so much income coming in, whether it be finances, whether it be love, whether it be joy. They're like, I'm not working hard enough to deserve this. And that's a paradigm shift. Excellent, brother. Great question. Brandon, did you get the truck moved? Do you want to chat, or should I go to? Okay. Good morning, sir. All right.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good.
I was just it's pretty funny that you were saying that, because it's something that I think about every day, because I actually have a lot of different stories inside one, because of different situations that have transpired in my life, and so I definitely wanted to see if you could help me with that, in terms of, because I know you say that it has to be something that's really, really like you're passionate about, but then also something that's meaningful, that's relatable to a lot of people, or depending on the situation. So, yeah, could you help me with that?
So, do you want to work on your story?
Yes.
Okay. So, Brandon, what do you do?
I drive trucks right now.
Okay. So, if you want to build your business,
Oh my God.
yeah. So tell me so if somebody asks you, hey, Brandon, what do you do? And even if you drive trucks, listen, we'll be able to create a story that includes all of that. Actually, it'll probably be the best story to include that, but I'll let you say something first, and then we'll go from there. So Brandon, I see you successful. I see you on your phone a lot. Tell me, what do you do? What do you do?
I help. So hey, how you doing? I help
doing
people
good.
what I do is I help people to shed light on their darkness.
Wow, so you're a preacher.
Sort of, kind of. In a sense.
Okay.
Like more of a motivational, inspirational type person.
So what church?
No church. Church of
Ah.
England.
See, the challenge is that, right, human predictability.
Mm-hmm.
If I say up, you say down. If I tell you if you give me a picture, I have to create the frame. And if I create the frame, then it's very hard for you to change the picture.
Okay.
So when you get into understanding the psychology of sales, there's something called framing a situation. And there's also called something labeling. And in negotiations, when you learn to label properly, the labeling takes away the fear, because the labeling, there is no big doubt when you label something. What it does is it gives it reality. So right now, you have a unique advantage when to talk about trucking, because everybody understands that things aren't where they are supposed to be. So you might say, I work for a trucking company, but do you know how everybody would like to have let's mute that. Do you know how people would like to have all of the stores and the shelves fully stocked again? Do you know how that creates fear and doubt? But what I do is I've partnered with a company and a group of individuals that kind of take that fear away of people. That fear of when they're going to the store, they wonder if what they want is going to be there. I kind of give them the opportunity to have an assurance that what they're looking for tomorrow, the day after, and the day after that, as it relates to income and building their legacy, I teach people how to do that on a regular basis. Because the challenge is, so I learned very early on when I was 12 years old, and when my dad sent me out selling in coal mines. When he sent me out selling, and I used to, because I was so smart, I would know people's problems, and I would know that a wash plant of a coal mine. So the coal comes out of the ground, it gets chopped up and broken up and sent to what's called wash plants, and they wash out the mud, they wash out the dirt, and they wash out the fines, and then they run them through shakers and vibrators and screens to size them out depending upon where it's going. Well, when you have a piece of equipment or a plant like that, there's just constant abrasion. You got coal sliding every which way. You got coal vibrating. You've got these shaker plates that are going, and there's just a tremendous amount of wear and friction and vibration. So something's always breaking down, So I would walk in when I was 12 and I go, hey, what problem you got today that I could fix? Now, what allowed me to sell these people was because I was 12. But then I learned later on, when I turned about 13 or 14 and I've been going to the same places, nobody wanted to hear me say what problems you got, because nobody wants to admit they got a problem. Nobody wants to admit they're in darkness. If you can say it and they feel comfortable and they'll go, oh, maybe I should pay attention to this, but I'm not going to tell them I got a problem. Think about this call. The community that it is, the love that's here. Right? Yesterday, Jeffrey said something. I brag about the comment that he said. He'd never heard I love you, so many I love yous on a call. He doesn't even hear that many. He doesn't hear that many in his house. The I love yous. So I thought that was pretty cool. That's a nice feather I'm going to carry around in my hat for a long time. So people aren't going to say right off the bat, hey, yeah, I'm in the darkness. Can you take me out? Because even if they do, then there's probably some other bigger issues if they're free enough to admit to that. So I like where you're going, but I shouldn't say but. I would encourage you to have a conversation to say, you know what? You know how trucks, so listen, I drive trucks all day long. Okay, that puts you into the, quote, working man's world. That puts you into a place to where they can relate to seeing trucks go up and down the road, and everybody wishes more deliveries were being done, but trucks are just going full out 24/7, right? And stores shelves are still empty. Hey, listen, have you in the past? Have you recently gone to the stores and seen the store shelves empty? Yeah. Who hasn't? Well, then, you know what I do is I kind of work with people. And I work with a group of individuals who help people whose kind of legacies shelves are empty in their life, whose income shelves have maybe lost some stock off of it. They've lost some of their money. They can't quite go out and do the things they used to do. They're trying to figure out how to create success from home. They're wishing somebody would deliver everything to their house. Well, what I do in a group of amazing people is we teach people how to have the deliveries of success, to take people out of fear, out of frustration, sometimes even out of darkness. We teach people how to have a better day starting today and making every day better going forward. How do you do that? Very well. Why do you ask?
Yeah, that's yeah. Thank you.
Because if they ask a question, they're waiting for a response they can only say one of two things to. And the only one of two things that they'll answer your response with is yes or no. Yes, I want to hear more, or no, I don't. And with the fear and the anxiety that exists today, the only thing, the first response out of protective, right? Social distancing, success distancing, is for them to say no. Now you've got an uphill battle to try to get them to agree that their no is not quite the best thing. Well, you can, Crystal. Crystal said, do you speak the feeling of what you do before the detail? Absolutely. You've got to get that. You've got, right, in marketing, in sales marketing right now, online, everybody's trying to figure out how you build a what, right? What's that thing? Everybody wants to know, well, what's your funnel, right? What's your Facebook ad? What's your this? But we're putting everybody in a funnel. We've used funnels for 100 years as a description. Right? Get them in the top, make them come out the bottom, and make sure they keep spinning around and they don't spin out of your funnel. That's what we used to say before we had all of the follow-ups and the AIs of if they clicked on this or didn't click on that, it sends them this email, sends them that email. But in order to get them in the funnel is the emotional idea, is the concept. The tactic to get them to come out to the bottom on your side, that's a tactic. The principles have never changed. How do you engage people at an emotional level so that they can be excited, fun-filled, and see something that's simple, fun, and magical to get done? It's called the you, it, and them. Larry Thompson teaches about the you, it, and them. So I hope that helps, Crystal. Hey, Shammy, how are you, my dear? She may have the kids running around.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My wild child's actually still sleeping. My boy.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of want to say like Brittany used to say, I think don't know my story, but I don't feel like that's kind of true. Like the fact that I don't know it, more of never really want to think about it. But right now that you spoke to the guys, you didn't really talk anything about the past or anything negative. It was more about their current situation. And
so, Shammy, I absolutely get where you're going. So there's two stories that we're talking about. You're talking about your personal story, and that one we can work on as well. And this was, if somebody asks you in business, if somebody comes up to you and says, hey, what do you do? They see you working on your phone, or you post you're posting stuff about, how you're working with the kids, and they ask you, so what do you, it's kind of, let me ask it this way. What do you do for a living? Right? If it's that question versus tell me your story. Right? Now the personal story weaves into your,
I haven't separated them before. Like I haven't thought about it in a separate way before.
yeah. So they're two separate stories. One is to get people to build the glue that allows people to engage with you at a much deeper emotional level, a connection. But it's also when you understand your story, the essence of that essence comes out in your business story as confidence, as strength, as understanding. So, but they're two different stories. But right now, if somebody asks you what you do for business, right, with your different online businesses, what would be your response if somebody said, "Hey, Sammy, what do you do? I see you working from home all the time. How do you make money doing that?"
Okay. Well, I just joined a company a few weeks ago that allows me to make money from home.
Awesome. How about if would it be okay if we worked on it?
Yeah.
Would it be okay? Would it be okay if you enjoyed telling it more?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. You know how single moms are pushed to the edge almost hourly?
Yeah.
Well, what I do is I teach moms how to be able to leverage timing to do what they love to do and be compensated in a way they never thought possible.
Yeah, how to leverage timing, that's so important. How to leverage timing to do what they love to do in a way that's possible.
Yep, in a way and be compensated, right? Be rewarded financially in a way they never thought possible.
Okay.
So the key is, and then the hard part is when people say, "Oh my gosh, how do you do that?" The next part, most people think it's just tongue in cheek. But it's the psychology of human nature that allows human predictability. How do you do that? Very well. Why do you ask?
Yeah, so I definitely need to share more. I'm a little bit closed off when it comes to sharing.
Sure, because you don't because again, now that part, why you get closed off for sharing, that could be part of your story. That's where you're afraid somebody's going to see behind the curtain. That's where you feel you don't have the confidence. You have 3 amazing souls that you're responsible for. Do you know how big of a responsibility that is? Do you know how much effort that takes? And I know you know the answer to this. Do you understand the value that you bring to the world by helping take care of 3 amazing little peanuts?
Yeah.
Do you realize how strong you have to be that every day you wake up and there's still 3 peanuts and one of them wasn't like taken somewhere and dropped off? I say that tongue in cheek, but the level of frustration, there's like when you finally got the one taken care of, the other one fires off. It's like you're handling fireworks for the 4th of July and it never stops. Every day you wake up, it's 4th of July and you got fireworks going off in every which direction.
Yeah.
So there's instantly, which you do naturally now and which you do with love and care, there's instantly a level when somebody hears I'm a single mom of three kids under, how old's the oldest?
9.
So 9, is it 5 and what? How old are them?
9, 4, 9, 3, and the baby's gonna be 1 in a few weeks.
So I've got 3 kids under the age of 9, 2 under the age of 3.
And I was a teen mom with my 9-year-old.
Okay, so a teenage mom. So now, do you know how sometimes teenage moms seem like they fall off the wagon of opportunity. That life doesn't always seem to treat them the best. I found a group of individuals who are allowing me, not only as a teenage mom, but as a single mom of 3, to find my to find my way, to find my value, and to deliver on a promise I'm making to my kids.
Wow. Yeah.
Who would doubt your level of commitment? Who could question? They may question how you found that, but if it's this group of individuals that that has given a teen mom a chance that she never thought possible, given a single mom a chance to keep the promises she's made to her kids every morning she wakes up, that's the group of individuals I'm around, and that's the business model I'm now a part of. But the part I love most about it is that I get to wake up each day with my kids and know that I can build a business from home and not have to have daycare, and I can use mom care.
It's crazy because I've been wanting that for a long time, to be home with the kids instead of working 9 to 5. There's been times that several times that I've had 2 jobs, and that's.
So the challenge is that when you hear me say that about you, it even takes you back a little bit, because you're like, well, wait a minute, but I'm just doing me. I'm young. I don't have experience. I don't have this, right? Those stories run in your head, but it also rings true what you want to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
somebody suggested personal development. I've been on personal development since I was 22, and I'm 27, 21, 22, and I'm 27.
Cool.
I think personal development is never ending.
Yeah, I've been doing it. I'm 54. I've been doing it for 50 years.
Yeah, right? My whole life. Yeah, because I've raised pretty negatively, so personal development is like really important to me.
Yep. So I would work. But I would be, if I were you, I would get with another female, probably Rhonda, and I would work on your story of being able to promote yourself by telling the story. Listen, I was a teen mom. Now I'm 27 with 3 under the age of with 3 kids, 2 under the age of 3, single mom, working on building my future. I've partnered with a group of individuals who allow me to keep my promise every day to my kids. Right? But I would get comfortable practicing that. I'd get with Rhonda and I would practice that story. I would say it out loud, because when you say that, your brain, your mind, your particular mind, Shami, says, I'm strong enough, I'm tall enough, I'm good enough. But there's a part of you that may not believe that you are when you say it. And that's the essence that comes across. So could you get with Rhonda today and work on that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Of course.
Awesome.
Yeah. I wanted to just throw something out real quick, Shami, for you. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, so I know exactly what you're struggling with, and some of it's really challenging being a mom. And you having one that's not quite 1, I know she'll be, or the baby will be 1 in a couple weeks. You still got a lot of hormones and everything going on as well. The female body takes a while to adapt after childbirth. Mm-hmm. Keep that in mind. But what Sean is giving you is some of the most powerful information, and he's just telling you what he knows you are. And I wrote down, as soon as you started talking, I wrote down, just, Shami, focus on being a mom and enjoying the moments you have now. Being a mom is so valuable. Don't let it pass you by. These days are fleeting and will be gone quickly. And you know that with your first one being 9 already. And keying in on that will help you to remain calm and express the emotions that every other mom is feeling, but to shamed to say it because they feel like they're not contributing to the income of the family. For me, that's what it was for me. Even at 36, I had Amelia at 36. And there was some, oh my gosh, I'm not doing enough. And actually what you're doing is you can very easily say, I'm building tiny humans to be what they need to be so they don't go through the same steps I am. And I'm happy when other moms come into my path that I can teach them how they can enjoy the moments they have right now in life and they can grow their tiny humans. And ironically, we make a little extra money on the side when we have the time to do so. But we don't use all our time doing anything other than being a mom, because that's what I wanted to be. And that speaks to any woman at any age, because at the very core of who we are, we want to take care of our family. That's the way we're wired. And that's okay. Our society tries to say that's not okay. That's okay. So what Sean just told you in a female way, I'm telling you the same thing. Step into who you are and be okay knowing you are raising tiny humans. You grew them in your body and you've pushed them out, and now you're raising them and loving them. And because of what you're doing and the personal development you're going through, you're going to be able to give them a total different future and a total different set of tools and life beginning than you did. And that's what you'd like to pass on to other women and to their children. And we'll just make some money on the side. Do you see how that goes?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to listen to this again and write everything down, because what Sean was saying is perfect and what you just said is perfect. It's like exactly what's in here.
Well, and I want to encourage you, you don't have to write all this down. What
No,
Sean
because
and
it's
I are
already
both,
inside you.
that's exactly what I was about to say. What Sean and I are both telling you is in your heart. You're just a little taken aback because we see your heart and we hear your heart louder than we hear the words that are coming out of your mouth. So what I would tell you is when you hold that baby and you've got that baby snugged up to your chest, or they nuzzle right there in your neck, or they put their little hands on your cheeks and they say, look at me, mommy. And you look at them and for the split second, you just grin at them. Speak from there. That's all you have to do, and let the words come out. The first few times you do it, it might not sound perfect, but it'll be from your heart, and that's all that matters. So I'm going to encourage you, don't listen to this to get our words. Listen to yourself to get your own words, but instead of worrying about how you got to say it like a business, you got to say it like a professional. Girl, you're a professional mom, and
Oh my
that's the
gosh.
hardest job in the world.
Yeah. Toughest bit. Professional mama one is like, you know, we should be laying gold bricks of gold roads at to your door. But of 3, of 4, of 5, there's some out there of 5. It's like, I don't know how y'all do it. I don't.
I know, because I went from my having one for 6 years, almost 7 years, to in less than 2 years having 3. I'm adding 2 more in like a very short period. So I know how it is. Like having one was hard enough, but adding 2 more is like a whole nother, and especially 2 babies.
Well, imagine. So listen, I need so all of the ladies that are on here, all of the powerful women that are on here, if you would just type a W in the chat if you're on here, a lady that's on here. I want to speak to you all for just a second. And I need you to hear this. And I know it may sound crazy coming from me, but every one of you that have typed a W in here, the son of a powerful woman, I agree. Every woman that is on here, you are going to be the ones responsible for saving this planet. Guys, I know we think we're tough and we're smart and we're all of this. There is an energy that's shifting right now that on a global scale, it's going to be the women that save this planet. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say that tongue in cheek. I don't say that with blowing smoke up your skirt. I say it because you're the strength that we're going to need. You know what it is like to give birth, to be a daughter, to be ridiculed, to be subjected to just things that we have never as guys have ever been subjected to, right? When you were taught to do something, you were told it's selfish. You were told to sit and write and be courteous and kind. I'm just telling you, this is a fact that I know. The energy that's shifting right now, we are going to need you. Here's the great news. You're already ahead of the curve. Why? Because you're the ones that are sharpening your saw. You are not grinding it. Please don't ever say you're going to grind it. I'm grinding it every day. You are not making chopped meat. You are building your life of success. You are building a future that we can all stand strong, right? They say for every strong man, there's a strong woman behind him. Well, that's about to shift. And I want each and every one of you to realize you are stepping into your greatness. It has been eons since this shift has ever happened, and it is now happening that it's not going to be one woman who stands up and makes, Vogue magazine, or becomes the model, or becomes the singer or the dancer. This is about every woman taking control of their house, every woman taking control of their life, so that the rest of us can follow in order, because you guys can understand chaos and confusion and still love us all through it. And every mom has now got another baby that just came home called a husband. For the most part, that's going to be the way that this is going to happen. So I say all of that to say, when I'm here to tell you your story, when you're like, well, I never thought of that, I giggle, because it's not that you never thought of that. It's because you were taught, don't ever think that. This is every woman that's on here right now. There's stories that you could tell. There's strength that you can speak to, but you were told, don't ever think that way. Because if I show a little bit of weakness, right, we would rather show a little bit of leg than a little bit of weakness. We would rather show a little bit of cleavage than tell our story. Why? Because that's what we think people want to hear. They want to see the story. They want to see our hair done. They want to see our nails done. Listen, I can tell you this. There's very few women in this world that I could outwork. Let me say that again. I'm pretty good at what I do, but if we ever got into a race of just pure adrenaline and effort, there are very few women that I could outwork. And I say that with all honor, love, and respect. Now, right now, the way the mindset is, the way the thought set is, y'all think, man, I just can't do what he does. You can do it 10 times better. I'm telling you, you can do it 10 times better than me, because you have a vibration I will never have. For those of you that have given birth to a child, Shammy is 10 times better at being able to connect with a mom, 100 times better being able to connect with a mom than I am, let alone a single mom. I love the fact that I get to impart into you, that I get to pour into you, that I get to give you whatever I have. But I also love that there's a Shammy here, that there's a Brittany here, that there's an Ashley here, that there's a Rhonda here, that there's all of these women here. There's a Stacy, and everybody that's here that's asking the tough questions, because the tough questions are not how do I get better? If we really dive into the psyche of it, is it okay if I get better? That's the thing that's behind all of this is it okay if I get better? I'm going to ask Sean a question. I love him. He makes me smile. I feel so good when I talk to Sean. But is it okay if I get better? The answer to that is GD, yes. Goodness darn it, yes. So, Shammy, you are this champion of life, that it's time to just, the stage that you're going to be put on is not for you. It's to inspire you. The scars that you carry, Paulo Coelho says in his book, Manuscript Found in Accra, the scars you carry are stronger than the sword that made them.
I love that. I love that.
You know, you have this beautiful voice. So when people hear you, they fall in love with you. Hi, this cute little voice. And then they see you in that head of hair. I mean, oh my goodness. That head of hair is just like, it's like, wow, supermodel. I mean, I don't know how long it takes, but here's the thing. Could you imagine, could you imagine anybody who has long hair like Shammy, is it time consuming to wash your hair?
Yes.
Right? So imagine, listen carefully. Imagine if all you went for was the avatar of women with long, luscious, beautiful hair, or the women who wanted it, but you talk about the hair and you say, listen, I want to talk to all of those female powerhouses out there that have long hair who don't have enough time in the day to wash it when they want to. And the fact that they can take time to wash their hair, and they maybe go to a salon to wash their hair because it's absolutely like it's the most magical thing to have somebody just wash your hair, that's like a staycation for y'all. What if you could say, listen, I've partnered with a company that allows me to get my hair washed whenever I want and gives me the time freedom to enjoy that luxury, that feeling of getting my head just scrubbed and washed and my hair pampered. I've partnered with a company that'll pay for every time I want to get my hair washed.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but there's things that only I don't say you take for granted, but you take them for, well, that's just my life. But if we look at the pain that is our life, listen, I can promise you, if you got one eye in the middle of your head, I'll find a meeting for you this Thursday at 7:30. There is some place in the world I could put you if you were a Cyclops. There is a meeting of Cyclops somewhere on this planet that you could go to. Why? Because we want to find our community. Right? If there's other things, think about the pain that you go through on a daily basis. This is every one of you. Right? As a dad, as you know, if your bride has had to make some transitions, or you've had to make some transitions because the kids are all home from school now. If you've had to make some transitions, there's a pain that you've had to deal with that everyone else has had to deal with. A huge group of avatars that now have to deal with that same pain. There's this community of what do we do now, right? You look at again, I go back to this. You look at the numbers on TikTok. Last year at this time, funny videos they might get 1 million views. 1 million was like ridiculous. Now there's ones with 5 million views, 4 million views. Why? Because everybody's tuned to that message. I would encourage you, if you're young, and I mean, I'm thinking about getting on TikTok, God forbid, right? But to do the mentorship, right? To do a minute of mentorship. I don't know if it'll work. I don't know if it'll play out. That's a whole new platform for me. But I've been watching it for the last 3 years. So my point is that there's a pain out there that you go through on a daily basis that you've become steel to, Shammy. It's really easy for you to deal about, to put the kids down and figure out how I wash your hair, or how you do this, or how you do that. Think about it. Think about it. So I'd get with Rhonda and I'd ask her, the two of you together will come up with an amazing story that all of a sudden you'll be like, here's the challenge, Shammy. When all of the business starts coming in, when all of the people start saying, I want to do what you do. I say this to CEOs, CMOs. I say it to guys who are in their 70s who start companies and the guys who are in their 20s to start companies. Are you ready for the love? That's the biggest issue. Are you ready for the love? And if you can say yes, then the story that shows up, and don't be surprised how fast it comes.
Okay. And it is completely separate, or it is okay to keep it completely separate, a personal story and a business story.
Yes, your business story is your business story. When people want to dive into you and you're able to, when they find out, when they wonder where you've gotten your courage from, Where they wonder where you've gotten your courage from, that's your personal story. Where they wonder what's that thing they don't quite know about you, that's your personal story. But right now, this is your business story. What's your forward, we call it in marketing, your forward-facing story. What do people see when they ask you what you do? What's that response that causes them to say, I got to do what you do? I want to do what you do. I want what you got.
I wanted to, you mentioned it earlier, and I wanted to say this. Before, like, they got really strict with social distancing.
Yep.
I was at my sister's house, and she, her first child was at like 22 or 23, but then she had her kids back to back, 3 babies. So she has 3 under 3.
Wow.
It's crazy. But she was saying that
Two of them were born on the same day.
She was saying that no, my son and her son have the same birthday.
Oh.
The cousins have their same birthday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but she was saying that day, like, that she couldn't believe what was going on with, like, the virus. And she's a very isolated person as it is. Like, she's not too social, but she was saying how basically how crazy it was, how scared she was, and how it kind of like makes her think like, why, like, scared of actually having babies.
Right.
Why was she shouldn't, basically, like, she shouldn't even had babies if she would have known that the world was going to end like this.
There's mom guilt. Absolutely.
That's basically what she was saying. And she's actually always wanted to be a mom. Like, that was her, basically her goal in life. Like, she wants 7 kids if possible. So she was kind of like rethinking it, like thinking like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have so many babies with what's going on. And then I told her, I was like, wait, Chris Marie, what if one of your babies saves the world, does something to save the world? Like, you don't know that. You can't be saying what you're saying right now, because you don't know if you're going to raise 2 or 3, 5 kids to actually save the world.
Right.
And what you just said earlier made me remember that from when we talked about that.
Yeah. So, and again, but this is so the bigger picture of what you just said is the guilt that moms have that I can't even begin to fathom. I can't even begin to understand the pain you guys put yourself through, but that's a mom thing. That understanding and that conversation, if you can weave that into a story that takes away that guilt, that allows them to look at that allows every mom to look at themselves in a little different light, that allows every person to look at themselves as, listen, Mary Kay used to say, imagine everybody walking around with a button on that says, make me feel special. See, I can talk about mom guilt. I can talk about raising kids. I can talk about all of the things I know and comprehend through my experience called life. It'll never be the same as a mom talking to a mom. They'll be nice and they'll love me and they'll go, oh, he's so sweet. He's an idiot. He can't find his ass with a map and a flashlight. He has no idea about being a mom. I like that he likes us. I like that he joins us. I like that he finds out. I like that he knows that we're important. But I got to tell you, moms, you have an unfair advantage when speaking to moms, like I have an unfair advantage speaking to dads. That's why my mission is to be a better dad, better husband, not to teach moms how to save the world. That ain't my job. I'll ring the alarm. I'll ring the bell. You can all come around, but I'm going to have strong women around me that go, you should talk to her. You should talk to her. You would get along great with her. I'll be the connector. So, Shami, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your story this morning.
Love you too. Thank you.
That's the greatest sound on the planet. Stacy, you got your hand up, my love.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I also would like help with my new story. I definitely want to water the roots of my new story.
Yep.
And would like your help.
Okay, cool. So is this your personal story or your forward-facing business story?
My forward-facing business story. And I do want help with my personal story, but I feel like I want to develop my business story because I want to move forward for myself and others.
Cool. So give me a little history on you. Who are you? What do you do? What have you done?
I am a cannabis educator,
Cool.
teacher. I'm a mother, breaking generational chains and curses.
Okay. How old are the kids?
Zora is 4 now.
Awesome. Does she just have a birthday?
She did, March 26th.
Okay. Everybody say happy birthday to Zora. Zora's an amazing little soul. Okay. So, hey, Stacy, hey, I see you doing stuff on social media and different things. And I know we're all kind of locked in home. What do you do for income? What do you do other than being an amazing mom?
So I was running a cannabis dispensary, but I became a dislocated worker last summer. And then I started doing home health care work for some of my clients from the dispensary. But given this virus, I have not been working with all of my older clients. So I've currently just been sitting down at home trying to keep my sanity.
Okay. So what do you do? Are you able to, did your income walk away because of the virus, or are you doing something else to help with the virus, or, I mean, to help with income?
It pretty much did, Sean. I was in the middle of a move to Texas right now. I was in the middle of a move literally in the last 3 weeks, and it's on pause because of the virus right now.
So if you were in your forward facing business story, what's the outcome you want people to say after you tell the story? What's the next action step for them, right? There's point A, tell the stories, and point B is where they take action. What's the action step at point B you would like them to engage in?
To start undeveloping the programs that are in their life.
Okay. To what extent? Meaning to do what? At what point do you generate revenue from their taking action? Because this is a business story, right? So at what point do they engage in revenue producing activities for you?
Can you reword that question, Sean?
Sure. At what point somebody's going to take action? And in order for you to generate income, they need to do an action that allows you to provide a service, product, or something that they will pay for that you will generate a profit from. Would that be a fair statement? There, at least you want to create a profit. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes.
Cool. What activity can they engage in? Can this person that's going to have a conversation with you, what activity could they engage in that would produce you profit?
They could become educated about holistic benefits for their life.
Okay, that still didn't. Do you sell the training?
Not currently. I'm trying to build my online platform.
Okay, cool. I can help you with that. I'll teach you how to do some of those things. But here's the point. Today, is there something that somebody could buy from you today, product, service, or technology? Could they buy something from you today that would allow you to produce profit for your family?
No, and I was trading, but I've taken a break from trading since about December. Okay.
So if there was something you could find that was simple, easy, fun, and magical that would allow people to short term buy a solution from you, would you be okay with engaging in those activities?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So would you like that activity to take a lot of education, or would you like it to be a simple next logical conclusion for somebody to follow through on?
I like educating, but more right now, the more logical conclusion.
Okay. So if you were to find something, then you have a simple, easy story, because right now, in essence, as it stands at this moment, you may not have a business that somebody could engage in. So then the next thing is so your business now would be acquiring eyeballs, right? We call it the wheel of marketing. In the center is you. Kyle Wilson taught me this. Jim Rohn's former business partner for 18 years. And if you know Jim Rohn, Kyle Wilson was the reason Jim Rohn became, not because of his message, he didn't do anything on the words, Jim was the philosopher, but the reason that Jim Rohn is so prolific and being known is because of the marketing genius that's Kyle Wilson. So I'm going to give you a little of his marketing genius. Picture a bicycle wheel. In the center is you. You're the hub. Everything flows around you. There's nothing, right? You're the beginning, you're the creation, you're the end. You're the alpha and the omega. Everything in your world runs around you, right? Just like everything in your world runs around Zora. So you're the center. Marketing is getting them onto your wheel of marketing and driving them to you. So what methods do you have to drive people to you?
Sharing my vulnerability and.
Well, let's just look at the marketing side. We'll get the you is still that hub. That's your story and all of this other stuff. But right now, what ways do you have to drive people to you? Instagram? Do you do anything on Instagram?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a marketing tool. Most people are using it as, check out my Heine and I'll check you out later. Follow me, I'll follow you. If you're going to use it as a business tool, you got to be driving them to you, which means you got to drive them to you to get them off the platform, because none of us own our Instagram followers. None of us own our Facebook followers. I'm giving you marketing 101 here. So you got to find a way to drive them offline. Do you have a place for people to come get a little takeaway from you? Do you have a little PDF, a little 3-page PDF on the holistic benefits of raising a 3-year-old the right way, or the holistically, or the benefits of CDB, or any of that stuff? Can you create a little 3-page PDF of just bullet points of great information of why it might make sense to do X, fill in the blank?
I do not have a PDF yet.
Could you create one?
Yes.
Cool. That would be the first thing I do. Create the page, 3 pages, could be 4 pages. The 7 reasons why, fill in the blank, that you love to talk about. The 7 reasons why CDB is safe for kids, my opinion. The 7 reasons why being a mom of a 4-year-old is joyous. The 7 things I do to entertain my 4-year-old during lockdown. Right? Again, single moms are they'll pay dearly for, how do I not pull my hair out and how do I not throw my kid outside the window? Right? We've all gone through those moments. Oh, you can't say that. That's not okay. Then you've not had a 4-year-old. So now what you're going to do is you're going to find a way, they can either private message you, and you can put all of the contact information in an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Excel spreadsheet on Google Docs. You don't have to buy anything. But I'd start acquiring names. And I would start building your list, because your list is the only thing you'll be able to transfer to Zoa.
Now, Sean, what if I already have, this is something I'm struggling with too, is I've stopped and started many times. And so I have many prospects and many clients. And even though I wasn't very consistent with my communication skills, I know once I reach out and thank them and apologize for not showing up, but let them know I'm showing up again, that they're right back with me.
Excellent. So reach out to them now and check in on them.
Okay.
Before you come at them with the business, that they would join you, but show them your heart before. Hey, listen, I know we haven't communicated in a while. I'm just checking in on you. How are you doing?
And with that, Sean, I was wondering, I feel the need to apologize to the people I've let down, that maybe I'm motivated and inspired, and I just kind of went MIA and disappeared, and they were depending on my friendship and me showing up, and I didn't show up.
Okay. So you can apologize. Do you know the apology approach? Do you know there's a technique called the apology approach? I
do not know yet.
Okay. So very simply, it's, hey, listen, I can't thank you enough for being an inspiration to me. I apologize if I let you down. I have a feeling I did. And I just wanted you to know that I apologize for that, because I think about it and I think about maybe I let you down on a dream. So I hope you accept my apology. And usually what do they, what's the thing that we say heals all wounds? Time.
Yes.
Law of forced reciprocity, the law of reciprocity, the fact that you're saying, I'm sorry, guess what somebody else has to say. Now, one of two things will happen. Oh, don't worry about it. You don't have to apologize. I didn't do this, right? And they'll try to take away the pain because they now owe you something. They don't want to owe you an apology. So rather than say they're sorry for not doing what they said they were going to do too, they're going to say, don't even talk about it. Don't even think about it. Y'all get that, right? When somebody says, don't even think about it. Oh, you don't have to apologize. It's because they don't want to have to apologize. That's called the law of reciprocity. So, and you can just say, hey, listen, I was checking in on you and I'm going to do better to keep my promises, but I feel like I let you down in the past. And for that, I apologize. So I hope you accept my apology, but I just want to check in on you. How are you now?
Okay.
It's pretty much that simple. We sometimes think ourselves into totally complicating things. Well, what if they say this? Okay, did they say it? No, then I'd do whatever you do to get them to say something. Yeah, but what if they say this? Geez, I have no idea about that. Have you sent anything to them for them to say that? No. Well, then I'd start there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
You bet. What'd you learn? What'd you like? One thing you learned, one thing you liked. Remember, I didn't teach you anything. Words don't teach. But what's one thing you picked up from our conversation?
So I have to drive people into me. I'm the center of everything. And I really have to put forth the effort and take action to drive people in towards not only my business, but towards connecting as just individuals, not even on a business level, just connecting as humans.
Yep.
So that I can not only profit from my business, but I can profit mentally, help them give and receive.
Yep. So here's a question. What would change for you if you got to say, instead of I have to I get to? I get to drive people to me. I get to market to individuals who I care about and help them have more of what they want, less of what they don't. I get to do this. See, that's another mom brain. Oh, I have to do this. I have to do that. I've got to get this done. I've got to do that. I have no time for myself. I get to. I get to be Zora's mom. I get to be pulled in 800 directions at once. And I get to market to people who absolutely, I understand their pain better than anybody else, and I can help them through it. And I get to apologize to these people who inspire me. And I feel like I let down, and I get to say thank you for letting me be able to send you a message. I get to.
I will definitely put that into practice more.
Awesome. Because if we have to do it, nobody wants to have to do jack squat. But get to? People say it all the time, but I have to stay home. I have to stay home. I get no what. Everybody says, I wish I could stay home. Now everybody's home and nobody's saying, I get to stay home. Some people are, but it ain't. It's not the majority. Does that help? That's one thing you learned. What's one thing you liked about our conversation?
One thing I liked, Sean, is how you listened without having a response. So that always really means a lot to me, considering I have to work on that myself, and I want to develop more of that within me. So I really like that you allow me the time and the space.
Yay.
Hey, can I add one thing to make it a little easier on your transition, Stacy?
Of course, Queen.
I love you. And you get your butt to Texas, I'm going to find you, girl. Okay, on a different note, when your daughter comes to you and she's asking you for something, but you can tell inside she's asking you for something else. So for example, my daughter will go, Mom, if I eat all my tuna fish, would that make you happy?
There's a
And
setup coming.
I always go, yes, it would. Why do you ask? Okay, so that little exchange, you probably have the exact same thoughts with your daughter at times. That is already doing what Sean is teaching us. Without nexting, you're hearing what they're saying without you having to do anything else. You're listening to them. You're just so in tune biologically that you can do that, and you don't even know what you're doing. It's the same thing with people, that if you'll kind of take that approach, it's a lot easier to stop nexting in conversation, because the person you're sitting across from is trying to tell you something without saying exactly what it is. Same thing with your little girl. That's why I learned so much from my daughter. Every time Sean throws out some of these amazing principles, I try them out on my 8-year-old because she will call me out in like 0.2 seconds. So you're already doing what you just said that you loved about Sean, listening without having a response. You're doing it with your daughter because you're hearing her before she ever says what it is she's saying. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And
Okay,
listen,
I wanted to give you that confidence there.
moms have in business, we call it a BS meter. I would say moms have a BS meter, but it's a belief system meter. And you can spot a salesman like 1,000 miles away. And that salesman is that little 3-year-old saying that, or that 4-year-old going, listen, if I eat all my tuna fish, would that make you happy? They think they got you. And you're like, oh, okay. I know something's coming now. People do that all the time. They ask a question so that they can get a response they like. And sometimes the response they like is that they're not good enough. I can't measure up to you, the person I'm talking to, so I don't even have to try. That's one more notch in the belt of I'm a loser. I'm not good enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not tall enough. But if you ask questions and you respond to them with questions that allow them to answer the questions for themselves, then the answer is I'm no longer good enough. I found somebody who's going to make me strong enough. That's why you all hang out here. I haven't taught you a dang thing. I really haven't, but I've listened better than probably most people on the planet. And I've heard you more often than not in a way you've never been heard before, to ask you questions you've never been asked before so you can do the damn things you want to do. And you all go, he's amazing. I love him. You know, what you really are saying is that I love you. You love yourself for some of the first times in your life. And I'm sad that it took us this long to get together so that I could remind you how important you are in this world. And if you're wondering how my team calls go, they're pretty much just like this. I was on the call yesterday with a gentleman from Austin who's on my team. He's Russian, amazing soul. And enrolled 2 gentlemen, Latinos. I said, guys, do you have girlfriends? And they said, yeah. I said, I need to get on a call with them because they're going to be the ones that figure out the business. And he goes, you know what? You're funny. I posted something on social media. My girlfriend posted the exact same thing, and she sold 2 samples, and I sold nothing. I go, let's get your girlfriends on here because the energy is shifting. Ladies, I don't want to say you have an unfair advantage because it's been unfair. It's rare that you've been able to take advantage of the graces that you have because everybody told you to sit down, be quiet. And if you're the one that said, I ain't sitting down and I ain't being quiet, you were called a witch on a broomstick or something else. The energy is shifting now. You are at the forefront. You are right in the bell curve. You're right here. And this right here is going to be another year. And then it's going to start here in about 18 months. And then up here, 3 years from now, then there's going to be this massive shift of economic wealth out of our hands and into yours. And you'll be the one that we all get to applaud and thank you for saving the world. So those are my predictions. That and 25 cents get you what? 25 cents. Thank you, Stacy, for sharing. And then we'll work on your story as well.
Thank you so much, brother.
I love you, sister.
I love you too.
IG Kia dot Aziza, I think it's.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Kaia. Good morning, everybody.
And what's your name? Tell me your name.
Kaia.
Kaia. I love it. Kaia.
Yeah.
Good morning, Kaia.
So,
Hey, Kaia, before we get started, don't cover your mouth. Has anybody told you how beautiful your smile is?
you have actually.
I thought so.
Thank you so much for that.
And has anybody told you thank you for being in the world today yet? Has they said thank you for being here and being such a joy in the world?
They have not.
Okay, so there's your first one. I'm glad I get to be the first
Thank
one
you.
today. How can I be?
I just want to. Oh, Stan. I love Stan.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? So first of all, thank you for allowing me to get out of my comfort zone this morning. Because when I raised my hand, I was like, I have to take my bonnet off, but I really don't.
No, you do not.
I don't at all.
That thing is sexy, girl. I want to be able to have a bonnet like that. Yeah, baby.
Rhonda has her robe, and I have my bonnet. So that's how.
There you go.
But my question.
Girl, I got a bonnet too. I just take it off.
Yeah, she went over.
Bonnets.
She talked about shower caps yesterday on some live.
Oh yeah, and sleep caps. Yep.
It works. It works. But my question was kind of it's not necessarily off topic, but more so I tend to make, like, we're talking about how people perceive our stories, but I tend to make stories about other people very fast. I'm a very judging person, and I know that about myself, but it's like, I feel like the best way to put it is I'm the queen of jumping to conclusions. So
You should talk to Britt. Where's Brittany? Brittany, you on the call?
So it's like, if you don't give me the communication that I need in the certain way that I need it, I will just make up my own assumption. And whether that's what you did or not, I'm like, you did that because that's what I'm thinking that you did. So you did.
Yep. And so they've done done study and say your name again.
Kaia.
Kaia. They've done studies at racetracks, funny of all places, that they've asked people their level of commitment of when they're going to place a bet, and their level of commitment when they place the bet versus the second they turn around from the window and they've placed the bet, their commitment to the bet they placed that just seconds ago was about 20-30%, goes up to 70 to 80% that it was the good decision.
Mm-hmm.
So I say this to say there's probably some challenges as you develop a relationship with people, that because you've made up the story that you're so committed to, it takes a lot for you to unchange that story, to adapt a new story, which is a true significance, which is a true indicator of, of greatness. Because in Napoleon Hill's book, he says, leaders are fast to make a decision and slow to change.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge is that we need to hone our skills to make 51% of the time that instant decision we make, 51% of the time it works in our favor.
Mm-hmm.
So as you do that, how is that decision that you've made, how has that served you in the past? Have you ever had to adapt and adjust it accordingly, or were you just absolutely written in stone as soon as you make it?
I mean, I feel like what we were talking about, a woman's intuition. Like I'm like a good 80% right, but when I'm that 20% wrong, I can say I was wrong. That's
okay, good.
But it's like you're guilty until proven innocent, and that's not right.
Well, it's not. But here's the thing, because it takes more energy out of you than it does out of them. Okay, she is me.
Right.
Yep. So I'm going to chat for a second, then I'm going to let Brittany pour some wisdom into you because we just all watched ourselves go through that. That was like, get the popcorn. So let me ask you this. Would it be okay if you were less, if you had to store less information on people?
No.
It wouldn't be okay?
No, I have to know. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm just saying it's okay for you to know, but you don't have to worry about it.
Oh, not to worry about it. Sure. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah.
Right? Because now every time you meet that person, they just are who they are. Have you ever walked by a tree that's dead?
Yeah.
And you ever walk by a tree that's in full bloom?
Mm-hmm.
Did it stop your day arguing with the tree? Why are you dead? We'd take you and we'd put you in a white coat and send you downtown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you do that with people? Oh, there they are. I don't know why they are the way they are. At a subconscious level, 70,000 thoughts a day. You spend a tremendous amount of time.
The face I just made is that emoji right there.
So, Brittany, why don't you give our little sister here some words of advice that you've been through recently, if you're able to chat?
I don't even know what to say, Sean, because I'm still dealing with this today. Literally this morning, I was texting Ashley on the side, and I'm like, Ashley, stuff is bothering me, and I don't want it to bother me. Help.
I just want to say really fast, Brittany. I was on the call when you had your breakdown and breakthrough. So
Aww.
Shout out to you, sis. That's all I have to say.
Oh, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So, here's the real thing. First of all, the courage to say, I don't even know, coming out of you in January, that'd never happen. That would have never happened.
This is so interesting because so the other day, you told me, well, you didn't tell me. I asked if you thought if I was insecure, and you said absolutely, right? And so at first I didn't feel away, and then I felt away, and I was like, the only reason why I feel away is because what's happening now is that I'm so seen. I cannot be unseen. And I'm so seen, and it's making all of my flaws and all of this stuff come outside of me that I wanted to keep hidden, and I can't hide myself from these people. So I'm like, okay, you know what? All right. So if this is what it is, then how we have to work on it. And so I have this cousin, and I call my cousin, and my cousin literally ripped me a new one. Sean, it was worse than you. And I was like, why is it? I was like, he was like, I can do this to you because I know that you're not stupid. He's like, everything that you're doing is just literally because you want to, and I don't understand why you keep holding yourself back. So I've been very quiet on these calls because I'm like, okay, they all see me, so I'm not gonna say anything. I've just been typing them, but I couldn't help myself back from typing in the chat because I'm so opinionated. And then here comes Kaya. I pronounced it right? So
yeah, you said it right.
Kaya, and she's okay, cool. And she's saying all these things that
They're the enemy.
And I'm still struggling with because that's so crazy because I was literally just dating someone.
And now it's really going to cut out.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Okay.
Holy Spirit.
I was just telling my friend I was like, no, I was like, when you don't express something fully, and I've said that on the call before, I'm like, when you don't express something fully, it leaves my mind to wander and come up with my own conclusions. And that's just not fair. And I realized, I was like, how is that not fair? I'm the one who's running off with my own conclusions. They didn't ask me to run off with conclusions. Why can't I just take what they say for face value and just leave it at that? Why do I have to dig so deep? do I have trust issues? Do I not trust them? Like, do I just tell people what they want to hear? Like, I just started thinking about all this stuff because I'm like, why does it bother me so much? Why can't I just take what people say and leave it alone? Whether it know that it's not the truth or know that it is the truth, why do I have to dig so much deeper?
Rhonda? And the only reason because Rhonda's been going through this over the last year, becoming exposed and being dropped into the public eye and dealing with issues. And then all of a sudden, she's doing what she loves to do even more so. And more of what she wants is coming her way. So could you speak to those amazing young ladies?
I can't ask me a question. Start off that way.
No,
ask me a
for
question.
real, that's how I felt.
So Kaia is going through snap judgment, right? And by the way, the queen of snap judgment is in a pink robe on this call.
Oh, y'all have no idea. I make Brittany look calm.
Yeah.
I could give the examples of what I did in the past 2 days if that helps, but it was just I knew what I was doing.
Yeah, but the point is that so when I say the snap judgment, it's a couple of reasons. One, it's a protective mechanism for female, right? And listen, do not cut me. I'm allowed to say that to y'all. Don't cut me, because it's just a protective mechanism. In the world, you have a way to be able to protect yourself because you need to protect your family, right? And if you don't have one, that's a built-in instinct to do that. So Rhonda, as they sit there with challenges, right? So the thing that I heard out of Brittany was, I used to try to hide, and now I've looked at myself so much, I don't think I can hide at all. So I'm not even saying anything. So I'm not even going to say anything. But Brittany, you can't hide when you're on this call just because of who you are, right? So I heard the switchblades come out. So Rhonda, the question is how, once you become seen, you can't go back into the unseen. How do you deal with that transition? Because that's the rewiring that's happening. And with Kaia, it is Kaia. Am I saying that right?
Kaia.
And listen, so here's the great news. You have an advantage over everybody, that you've got to teach people how to say your name so they never forget you, Kaia. So fun fact.
It is Swahili and it means lovable.
Yes. Well, and Jambo. So Jambo Sana. So right? Most people are like, what did he just say? Yeah. Anyways, but you are lovable. So Rhonda, the question is how do you deal with now that we can't put the genie back in the bottle? What do you do?
Whoa, that's a loaded question, Sean. You got my wheels over here turning. So it might have to come out in a few stories. Get my hair out of my way.
Ooh, I like stories.
The other day when Sean was doing his face off on a different program where he sat down with Jeff, and they were pitching each other, for lack of better words, and they had to get a yes in 15 minutes or less. And I was watching Sean, and by the way, Sean had that done in like 6 minutes and 20 seconds. I don't know, it was like super duper fast, unbelievable. And they were all blown away. Well, there's another guy named Sean who he was going, I guess, head to head with our Sean. Yes, I call him our Sean, my Sean. So there you go. And the other Sean was basically in the driver's seat, and he was trying to get Jeff to say yes in 15 minutes or less. And they're talking. And this guy, although he's probably really good, he didn't create a rapport with me inside of my head. Now, of course, I've had hours with our Sean, but he didn't create a rapport with me. And he asked a question. And this is the part a few days ago I told y'all when I was watching it live. And I was sitting there, and as soon as he asked this question, I felt like I had to hold the zipper of my pants and make sure my bra was still strapped on. Like it was that greaseball. And I say it like that because that's the snap judgment Sean's talking about. And my mind is really, really fast, like super fast. And my tongue is probably sharper or faster than that. And since being exposed, those are two things I really have to work on, because as soon as this guy made the statement, he said something and Jeff goes, well, why would that matter to you? And in my head, and I'd like to go back and rewatch it, in my head, his voice changed. And he said, because you matter to me. And instantly I began blowing Sean's phone up going, I've got to take a shower. This is disgusting. I better hold on to the zipper of my pants. I can't believe that. And
Well,
I was
so
like,
what he said is that he changed his voice and he goes, well, because you matter to me.
that's what he said.
Oh.
And it was the tone with which he said it.
Yeah.
That's
exactly what he said. He
Because you
leaned
matter
into the
to me.
camera. Yeah, he leaned into the camera and he looked at the other guy and he goes, because you matter to me. And I'm like,
I don't
you know,
like
no. Okay,
in
so
a bad way? Or
these are the snap judgments Sean's talking about. And I make them in like a millisecond or less.
oh.
And when I make them, they're like 1,700 switchblades going out at once and
Yeah.
done. You know, I get out of my life. I have no room for you. You're disgusting. I can't believe you probably should be under the prison, not just in the
Sheesh.
prison. Yeah. So that's why Sean's asking me this question. It's the same reason that there's a 20 gauge shotgun sitting at the front of my door with shells beside it, because I make a really quick snap judgment. Because as women, we're designed a lot of times to have to do that. So sitting that down once you're exposed is extremely challenging, because it's no longer, just don't come at my door in wee hours of the morning. It's not pleasant, or night. It's hard when you decide to have, y'all stop. I got cats fighting through curtains here. It's hard to come to a place where you're willing to allow others to see you, and you're okay with them seeing you, and you're okay with them making a judgment. Yeah, it can be a pride thing. You're okay with them making a judgment and you not having to respond to their judgment of you. Does that make sense how I'm saying that, Sean?
Yep.
So it's very challenging at first. So a lot of the things that it's easier to judge than be judged. Absolutely. But with the biblical principles that I apply is the way I judge, it comes back to me tenfold how I judge to them. So if I judge them harshly, that's why Sean says, walk in forgiveness, thickhead Rhonda, walk in forgiveness. I have to come back to that constantly.
Listen, I wasn't even going to type that when I knew that she was blowing up. There was no way I was going to say forgive, because
Sean would have never. He would have ceased to existed if he
yeah,
was brought back.
because I'd have been so wrong, even though it was so right. She had gone over the edge. She had gone around the bend, and I'm like, okay, we'll wait for that train to wear itself out.
Yeah, and he did smart. So guys, there's a tip as a man when you're dealing with a woman.
Well, just stop. Yeah, nobody ever stopped nothing being told. Just stop.
No, you'll get shot. We'll cut something off from somewhere and you'll get shot afterwards. So just don't even
tell
do
us
that.
to calm down either, especially when we're already calm. Because
Nobody ever calmed down from here and calm down.
No.
That's just not going to work.
But here's what you got to remember when you're dealing with snap judgments like this. You got to remember that if as I move down this road of, for lack of a better word, success, because there's a lot of success coming to me now. There's a lot of people that I get to help now. And as you do that, you have to remember that that's where they're sitting. They're sitting in a snap judgment thought process. And if you sit in a snap judgment thought process, you both are going to annihilate each other. And you're going to say something to the effect of, well, they're not my people and I don't have to put up with them. And next.
Mm-hmm.
And when you begin to say that, that's a heart issue inside yourself. Doesn't matter where their heart is. You have no control over their heart. You have no control over their thoughts. You have no control over their life. All you do is have control over you. And until you sit with those snap judgments that we have, and you take a minute and you swallow and you take a deep breath and you realize, okay, what lens am I looking through to get this snap judgment? You're not going to see the success that you want to see in helping others. You may find some people, they're going to be a lot like you. And when you say the wrong thing, they're going to make a snap judgment about you, and your whole business is going to just blow up in like that much time.
Mm-hmm.
So what you create inside yourself is what you will manifest with your words. Out of the mouth, the heart speaks. And if what you're speaking out of your mouth is blowing people up, and your business is not growing, then every single time I have to go back to my heart. When I have someone that rubs me the wrong way, I have to go back to my heart, and I have to figure out, what is it that's creating that snap judgment? What is it that's creating that thought process? I hope this is helping, because it's
It
kind
is. It is. Yeah.
So it is. Oftentimes we ask a lot of questions, and it's interesting now that I've been working with Sean for a while, when someone comes to me and I start hearing a lot of questions about why people treat them a certain way, it's a key, big red, hazardous red lights go off that something's not right in their heart. Has nothing to do with anybody else. If I hear someone say, this always happens to me, people always treat me this way, something inside their heart. Something inside them is creating a snap judgment. And what is it that they need to lay down or work through, or both? Did that answer your question?
Answer my
Kind of.
question. But
Yeah,
I hope it gave direction to those two.
Yeah.
Sean is
sure.
a brave man to say words like that to two strong women.
I'm just gonna let it go. Ooh,
I hope it helped them.
Rhonda, just to go back to what you said, like, it makes sense to me, but I'm also just realizing that I don't know what my heart issue is. Like, I can sit here and say, like, I've had some things happen in my, like, in the past that have caused me to have trust issues and stuff like that, but in my business of just automatically feeling like there's tension when there's really no tension, I've just created it in my head type of thing. It's like, I don't know exactly where that stems from. Maybe it's like childhood trauma somewhere. I don't really know. But that just means I gotta dig deeper into that, I guess.
So that's interesting you say that, because that's a yeah, that's exactly it, Monique. It's a brick wall. There was a moment that I had to do a one-on-one. I didn't have to. I chose to do a one-on-one, and I was actually present with Sean. I don't live far from him, so I was face-to-face with him at an event that he had done online, and I just went and sat and participated. And after the event, I was exactly where you were, and this was it was almost a year ago, exactly a year ago, and probably a few weeks. And I sat with him, and I basically asked the exact same question. And here's the good part. You're asking the right question, which is, what's wrong inside of here? Mm-hmm. Not, why all these people crazy? It's, what's wrong inside of here? So you're asking the right question. So the good news is, when you begin to ask the right question, you'll get the right answers. You'll be on a road of discovery to the right answers. Now, the road to discovery is not always fun, because you're going to discover a lot about you. Yeah, exactly. So you're going to have to be like, oh, golly. And you may or may not want to do that publicly. I didn't have the guts at first to do it publicly. I had one of my friends with me, and she watched it unfold, and Sean walked me through removing like what I called the glass bowl and the brick wall that it was sitting on. And as he did, it was highly emotional.
And this was in 15 minutes.
Yes. It's just, it's just like, Oh yeah, it was only like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I haven't had half the things happen to me that a lot of y'all have experienced. Like I probably have been sitting in the high life compared to what a lot of y'all have experienced. But to me, it was traumatic because it was my only experience.
Mm-hmm.
And after I went through that, I was able to at least see that the wall can be removed. Like I didn't even know the wall could be removed. And then the next part was probably a few months later, Sean and I were having a conversation, and I was back to okay, now that I know the wall can be removed, how do I get rid of this? What's in my heart? There's something holding me back. There's something I can't get it. I can't find it. And that's when Sean had a conversation on the phone with me that I can't honestly believe he lived through that either. He's a resilient man because I think I've tried to kill him like 17 times. And he called out for me, he called out a name that had a lot of meaning to me. And he should have never even known this name. He was like, I don't know. I'm sitting here thinking, and this is what's downloaded to me. How about this name? What does that name mean to you? And I almost blew a gasket. Like,
That's God. That's God.
Well, yeah, totally. But
Didn't even
I
know.
said, I don't know what this name means. And she goes, what'd you say? Now, you hear her turn on her black charm on here. I swear to goodness, I thought a body had been replaced. What name did you say?
If anybody were to say my ex's name, I would act the same way, just triggered.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Don't
funny
do
that
that.
you say that because the name that he gave was my husband's ex-wife's name.
Oh, triggered.
Yes.
Sean.
And yes, but he never even knew my husband had been married before.
Interesting.
Yes. And when he said that name and we walked through the drama that's around that, and the thoughts that have been put on me from other people that I've accepted their thoughts, wasn't necessarily my thoughts, but it morphed into my thoughts. And then I took ownership of their words as my thoughts. That's key.
Okay.
I took ownership of what they said about me, and I owned those thoughts now as if I created those thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay, that's huge right there. And once he began to dismantle that with me and for me, that's when I realized I had accepted the thoughts and the words people had spoke over me as my truths.
Yeah.
And that goes back to part of the conversation. Was it yesterday you spoke of what truths do you have to lay down in order to change your whole process? That's when that changed. And that's when I saw the heart issue. And the heart issue was I held on to the emotions, because your heart is your emotions. I held on to the feelings and the emotions behind the thoughts that they spoke over me and to me. So that's the other reason why one of my favorite scriptures is life and death are in the power of the tongue.
Right.
And what you speak over yourself, what you speak over others, that's the power you have. The people that spoke this over me, I allowed their thoughts to hold me captive for at least the last 18 years. 18 years. Yeah, Joanne, wow is right. 18 years of living under someone else's thoughts that I accepted as truths over me. So then to sit with your heart issue, the questions you ask yourself is, what truths have been spoken to over me that I've adopted that aren't true?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a question you have to sit with a little bit. And I was so stubborn and quick to fight that I had to have someone, God had to bring someone else into my life that could withstand the storm that they were about to go through. Yes. Sean, bless his heart, to help me walk past that. But here's the beauty. Now that I've watched him help me walk past that, and he's lived through it, I know what that looks like, and I can do that for others. And that's a true definition of a mentor, is he gave away his knowledge to me, helped me see something in myself that I didn't know was there, but I felt it was supposed to be there. He identified that for me, the gifts that were already there and the things that I didn't know were there. And then he allowed me to take away his knowledge and go use it for somebody else, not only myself. That's the whole basis of what we're all trying to do here on this call.
Right.
So the heart issue, when you hear your words change, and it's not just words, when you speak the words and the emotions with them are vastly different than they used to be, because you can't be going, no, I forgive him. No, you got an attitude when you say it. You ain't forgiven him yet. No, I don't need them. Yeah, you do. You need them. You don't need them to function, but you need them because God put them in your life to change you and them at the same time. So until because it's constant, that there's always someone in my life that doesn't agree with me. And I can either see that as, and I hate that word hate. Hater's going to hate. Now, people always say, well, hater's going to hate, Roland. You know what? They're confused followers. And they came across my path for a couple of reasons. One, have I learned the lesson that God's asked me to learn? That's the biggest question. And what can I say that I've passed this test and move forward into greater things? And that's where y'all see Sean. He's passed a lot of tests in his life. He's been able to overcome all these tests because his heart has changed. And when you can have people come into your life that irritate you, and you're going to get irritated. By all means, you're going to get irritated.
Yeah.
But when you can identify the irritation and go, where's that coming from? And you can extend mercy and grace, not, oh, poor thing. No. Mercy and grace says they're still valuable. They're confused. They don't see truth, and they're seeing through the beliefs that someone else has spoken over them. That's when you know you'll have helped your heart get healthier. Okay, that was a lot in just a few minutes that I gave you if you go back and dissect it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense on seeing your heart issue?
It does make sense. I just, applying it is going to be the hard part.
Oh, absolutely. That's wisdom.
Right.
Knowledge is just knowledge. You got a lot of knowledge in the last few minutes.
Right.
Wisdom is application of knowledge.
Okay.
And that's the hard part, because that's the part where you're going to hold yourself accountable for what you learned.
Right.
That's wisdom.
But you definitely just reminded me of my mom just now, as funny as that sounds, because whenever, because I love my mom, okay? I'm 21. I love my mom. All right, I'm going to just say that. However, comma, she calls me.
In addition to.
Right.
When I want my space, she'll call me like 6, 7, 8 times, and then I get irritated, and then I'm like, she'll know I'm irritated because moms know, just a slight tone in my voice, she knows, and I'm like, she'll be like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, I'm just irritated. She goes, "Did you irritate yourself?" And I'm like, and I just want to be like, it was you, but I'm gonna let it go. Because at the end of the day, yeah, I did irritate myself because you just did what you did, and I made it mean something, and now I'm irritated. So here's a key that it sounds so simple, but it's so genius. In this moment, you get to choose misery or joy. Imagine if yesterday, now not to get you emotional, but imagine if yesterday was the last day you had those 7 calls from your mom. Oh man.
they would be golden, wouldn't they? Change the way we look at things, and the things we look at change. Ron, did you read this morning's devotional?
I did.
Oh my goodness. This goes back to Brandon. Bring me the sacrifice of thanksgiving. Take nothing for granted. Not even the rising of the sun. Before Satan tempted Eve in the Garden of Eden, thankfulness was as natural as breathing. Satan's temptation involved pointing Eve to the one thing that was forbidden to her. These thoughts you're having, they're forbidden to her. You don't even want them, but you're being pointed to them. The garden was filled with luscious, desirable fruits. Your day is filled with your mom loving you and the thoughts of your friends and family and community. But Eve was focused on the fruit she couldn't have. I wish they would fix their damn ass so I could be happier.
So,
that was worth 1,000 points. 1,000 points goes to Ashley. The garden was filled with luscious, desirable fruits, but Eve focused on the one fruit she couldn't have, rather than being thankful for the many good things freely available.
why is that?
This negative focus darkened her mind, and she succumbed to temptation. The temptation of fixing somebody else rather than us is a lot more energetically charging than saying, I love me in this moment. When you focus on what you don't have or the situations that displease you, back to Brandon this morning, your mind also becomes darkened. You take for granted life, salvation, sunshine, flowers, and countless gifts from me, our Father. You look for what is wrong and refuse to enjoy life until that is fixed. That's the enemy right there. When you approach me, Heavenly Father, with thanksgiving, the light of my presence pours into you, transforming you through and through. Walk in the light with me by practicing the discipline of thanksgiving. How many times yesterday did you say thank you to people? How many times today can you say thank you to people? He didn't put us here to have to figure out all this stuff. He already gave us the gift, and the gift is gratitude.
Yeah, this devotional is Jesus Calling.
Oh, I need to get that.
But it's the one Jesus Calling, enjoying peace in his presence. Because there's a bunch of different Jesus callings, but this is enjoying peace in his presence.
That's the one I need. I have her other one that's smaller.
Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah, but so there was multiple times, y'all, that Sean would look at me and he'd say two things. Well, actually, he'd say three different things, not necessarily all at the same time. He would either say, walk in forgiveness, and I'd roll my eyes, or he would go, and this is the one he cut me with. I don't know how he lived through this one. They will know we were a Christian by, and I'm like, oh, I just want to run my fist in your face right now. Yes. And then he would
but
go,
they're stupid. They're stupid. I can't love them till they're not stupid anymore. They'll know we're Christians by. I said that one when I was in another state.
Yeah, smart enough not to be near me. The other one he would say is what he just said. In this moment, you can choose joy or you can choose misery. And although we laugh and giggle, and it just made me roll my eyes, it really is that simple. It really is that simple.
And I have to give Rhonda credit because I'm a guy, and there's so many things when she understood that it comes from my heart, because the first times I would say that, well, you're a guy, you don't understand my brain. And I would go, I understand that. I don't, but you still have a choice. I don't get all of the problems. I don't get all of the issues. I don't have all of the where life wasn't good to you and everything else. But in this moment, it's the only thing I can, joy or misery. What do you choose? Yeah, but
See, y'all, this is why I say no one should be scared to speak up on these calls, because I'm telling you, I've hit him with everything that you can possibly think of.
And borrowed some.
There is nothing y'all can say or do to this man that y'all should be intimidated or scared of, because I have raked him over the coals, through the fire, in the pit. I mean, tar and feathered everything. And he
Lock
still
the furnace door.
It's not about what we say to him. It's about what he says to us.
Exactly, Brittany.
That's it.
Also, I read what you said about your astrology. Are you a Sagittarius?
Ew. No. I am.
She said,
Virgo.
ew.
No, there was no judgment in that. There was no judgment in that response.
Not at all.
God.
Whoa, what's wrong with a
Ew.
Sagittarius?
Right, what's wrong with us?
Yo,
Let me know.
Sagittarius? No,
Ew.
Sagittarius, y'all.
Brittany, you said that with
I
your
can go
outside
into-
voice.
I can go into astrology as much as I want to. Not today, maybe some other day, but Sagittarius are just not my favorite.
See, you're giving me Virgo energy.
I am a Virgo.
See,
baby.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Oh
exactly.
boy, like
It
my
all makes
daddy.
sense now.
Wow.
But
And you
thank you
know-
guys for everything that you said, especially people in the comments. I'm gonna choose joy, Sean. I'm gonna choose it.
With every breath, and what happens is if you're in joy, when you decide to be in joy and ask, is this the greatest joy I could be in? Could I be in more joy? Could I laugh more, right? So if you and I just started laughing.
You make me laugh without even.
That's more joy.
That's funny.
It is funny.
I wasn't gonna cut you, by the way.
No, I know you wouldn't. And listen, you can't. You can, as long as, if somebody does that and I let them think they do it, then at least we've gotten the poison out. But you can't harm me. You just can't. You can say anything you want, but it's not me. I've got enough problems with the story I got running in my head. Your story ain't as tough as the story I got going on.
I'm sorry.
So-
I'm reacting to Brittany. We
Yes.
will talk. We will
Yes.
talk.
Yeah.
Because I have honestly, okay.
Wait,
I
what's
feel
your
like
sign?
I feel like showing out. So I am a Sagittarius sun, and then I have a Virgo moon and a Virgo rising. So I
Oh,
get
okay.
you, but I have
So
a lot of
you're-
internal conflict.
Which is why, that's because that's crazy, because that's why you act the way or people perceive you how you are, because your rising sign is who you really are on the outside, and your sun sign is who you portray yourself to be to everybody, which is why you're so charismatic and funny, because that's how Sagittarius are. But Virgos are very overly analytical and critical, and they think so much, very logical, non-emotional at all.
Mhm.
They're so judgy. That's probably why you're judgy like that.
So can I ask y'all a quick question?
Send me
I
your
might
number,
get-
girl. I'm gonna do your birth chart.
Okay, great.
I might get totally slaughtered at this question, and I'm okay if y'all want to slaughter me. That's fine. All these strong women. So I can't do the astrology thing, because I'm like, I ain't got nobody in here that needs to be telling me who I need to be because of when I was born. That's just my thoughts, y'all. I know where you're coming from.
Astrology, and this is the thing, because when people think about astrology, they think about horoscopes. But if you really actually think about it, astrology is the study of the planets and the gravitational pull and how all of that affects us. We know why tides happen. Tides happen because of the gravitational pull of the moon. We're all made up of water, atoms, matter, which are also guided by the gravitational pull of Earth, of space. So if the moon can move the ocean, why can the moon not affect us when the sun is out? We're happy, we're cheering, we're being fed by the sun. It's just like, if you think about it like that, it's like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, fully agree.
Just
That's
curious,
why I don't.
who made the
full
sun?
moons, full moons, I don't sleep real well. I totally get that. I just I think my personality has problems with people giving me boundaries and saying this is the box you fit in. I'm like,
But you're a Christian, which is also a box that you gladly subscribe to and share it with everybody.
Yeah, I guess I see it more as freedom than a box.
Monique, I was just about to say that.
But are you? I don't know what I am.
When's your birthday?
When's your birthday?
February the 4th.
You're an Aquarius.
Ah,
I love
Oh,
father-
listen to that.
my
You gotta
dad,
work on this
We
judging.
get along so well. That's
No.
crazy. I
my
love that.
dad is an Aquarius. Aquarius, I really think they know it all people. That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they really are. Like every Aquarius that I know, they're like, no, what I know is fact, and this is how it is. They're all about their business too.
Yeah. That's
That's
why
very true.
this has been so, what Sean has helped me walk through has been so challenging. I had a lot of truths that I was speaking through that didn't serve me, that gave me all those titles. And since going through those truths and realizing some of those were things people spoke over me from their heart perspective, and I can lay those down, that's what's given me the freedom that I have now. And the more truths I walk through, it's crazy, y'all. The more people that come into my life that want to be loved. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It got quiet.
I'm like, who? Because who is that? Like Ashley stopping up the stairs?
Yes.
I think she was getting out of here.
But no, the last thing I want to say, because I'm reading all the comments as we're all talking. So I'm gonna practice right now, just letting go of what like my preconceived notion about Libras, especially Libra men. Leo, you have done nothing to me, so I'm not gonna assume that you're terrible and just manipulative the way I normally would. Grow.
Wow, life is so painful for y'all.
I'm screaming. I'm screaming. I cannot.
Oh my gosh. I am so sorry. See, this is so, listen carefully. When we come to this world, we know very little. When we grow up, I ask the question, Sadhguru asks the question, do you want your intellect to be sharp or dull? And everybody says sharp. And with a sharp intellect, you can cut things. You fraction the world. The fact that you just said that, Leo, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make any judgment. You have chosen to take yourself out of joy. This is all information you learned. This is all information that somebody else learned. This is all information that you have taken in and now have used it to set your prejudgments. Right, wrong, or indifferent, totally understand. Planets move and this, that, or the other. But what if you ran across the unicorns of those particular descriptions that no longer fit that description? You've now got to either adjust and say, well, it's not totally true, or there's unique stories, there's exceptions to every rule. I choose to look at people as the exception to every rule because if my vibration brings around the people that I energize with, there's going to be, everybody is an exception to every rule that could have been passed or judged about them. It's why I wind up with all of you here. Listen, you all don't look like me, you all don't talk like me, you all don't act like me, but why are we psychographically engaged with each other? Because we're all on a similar mission to bring value to the world in a way that's never seen. Without titles, without labels, without this. Anytime, listen, you want to talk about racism? Label somebody. Now that one's going to hurt. You want to talk about racism? Label somebody. You labeling somebody is the equivalent as a crime. That one's going to hurt. And there's no arguing around that. When you label somebody, that is a crime, period. It could be a crime that they're a genius, that they're a Nobel Peace Prize winner, that they're this. When you lay on your deathbed, you are not going to be sitting there with your labels going, look at all the labels I gathered in my life. I don't care what faith, I don't care what religion you are. What I'm sharing with you is that you use that to fraction the story of this thing called life. And when you fraction that story, you are putting a label on it and you are condemning somebody to that label. That is a hate crime. Listen, I can hear all of the noise coming back right now. You're right. I'm rich. Let's move on. You label somebody good, bad, or indifferent. That is a crime. It just is. Yeah, but it's a little one. It's a little white lie. It is what it is. You're not this, you're not that. When you take those things and allow it to take you out of joy, you're the one that loses. I don't care how much poison you drink, it ain't gonna kill them. You deserve more. You deserve more than to be told that somebody's this, that, or the other. And yes, they may have those tendencies. But why does that matter to you? Why are you being taken out of joy? Why are you deciding to pass judgment or not pass judgment? You want to take your business to the next level? Throw away the labels. Can you give people, I do a lot of work in China and in Hong Kong. Numbers, right? We don't have 13 in our elevators. You ever notice that? You ever go up, there's no 13th floor? It's the unlucky number. In Hong Kong and China, it's a great number. There's people who won't make a move unless it's the right day at the right time at the right this. And their lives have been wildly successful. Totally get it. But I'm going to encourage you, label or not, energy or not, they fit the bill or not. This is all about you being in your joy. Because the second you are out of your joy, you can't make the best decisions for you, for your legacy. There's 2 times we die in this world: the day they put us under the ground, or the last time our name is spoken. Are they going to speak about your labels, the labels that you put on everybody? They're going to. How long will they speak about the label that you have hanging around your neck right now? What is the label they're going to speak about? What is the word that they're going to use to describe you? Oh my God, they could judge somebody in a heartbeat. How long do you think that's going to show up in their vernacular, in their dialogue after you're dead and buried? Who is that person that used to snap judge people? And that'll be on Tuesday after you're gone on Monday. What is it that you're sitting here for? What is it that you woke up this day for? You can do all of that stuff. I'm not saying not to. But when you wind up with an empty bucket at the end of life and you're going to go, well, where'd all my labels go? Maybe this is one of those moments where it's like, well, we're afraid of what he's going to say to us. It could be that. Maybe, maybe not. I love your awareness of people. I love how you engage in dialogue and understand unique individuals, and they do kind of fit into those boxes. But what box have you just shattered that allows you to have more of what you want and less of what you don't? That's the question. It doesn't matter what box anybody else puts themselves in. What box are you staying in or choosing to not get out of?
Sean, the way you love us, no matter what box we sit in and no matter where we speak from, is unstinking believable. It really is. I would venture to say every one of us sitting on this phone call probably doesn't have one person in our life that loves us the way you love us. And you expect nothing in return. You're asking nothing from us. That is what's mind-blowing. And you love us no matter what perspective we come from or where we sit and in what truths we sit in. And I want to honor you in that, because that is rare. That is rare around the whole entire globe. And we get you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sean.
I
Thank
love
you,
you all.
Sean.
Thank
I
you,
love you
Sean.
all.
That's why I wake up early every day just to hear you.
Thank
and
you,
see
Sean.
Thanks, buddy.
Aw.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank
This is
you,
my first
Sean.
time on here, and it is amazing. I love everything that I've heard so far.
Aw, Casey, thank you.
I told you,
You're
you water
welcome.
my seeds every day.
I love you,
No.
Stacy.
So here's the good news. Some of y'all had your hand up. If any of you really want to, if any of you need to leave, feel free to leave. But yeah, this is like trying to turn off the TV. It's like the season. We have these shows that are always like season finales. It's like I can't leave. I'll be happy to go through all of the questions here and sit with you. So I don't want you to get nervous. So Gina, you had your hand up, my dear.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hi. Okay. So I kind of wanted to work on the, what did you call it? The power forward thing?
Oh, your forward-facing script?
Yeah, that's what
Yes.
Okay. And then I also kind of had a couple of aha moments I wanted to share too.
Cool. Share the ahas.
Okay. So yesterday I couldn't sleep last night. So I decided to write in my journal. And I had been very inconsistent with writing in my journal. And the first thing I wrote in my journal was that I need to be more consistent with writing in my journal. And then I started to think about all the other things I'm not consistent with in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then the saying in my head popped up, like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So then I started to think, like, maybe, because I'm working on this like whole self-image thing that I have and fixing. So I'm like, maybe the issue isn't that I'm inconsistent. And then I remembered about 2 weeks ago, I had another aha moment that made me realize I have a problem with commitment. And I thought it was just commitment with relationships. But like I said, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I'm like, the issue isn't that I have a consistency issue, is I have a commitment issue. So that was my aha moment. So I wrote about my...
And so now that you became aware of that, what changed? Well, I didn't want a follow-up question. I didn't want to commit to a follow-up question.
I wasn't expecting that. I don't know. I mean, I'm more aware of myself and the issues that I struggle with my self-image. So now, like, I can fix it. I can work towards fixing it.
Cool. What would fixed look like?
Being more committed.
Cool. So what could you do right now that would allow you to know that you're on the right track? Because otherwise we make these huge decisions. The word commitment is a huge decision, but it's Jim Rohn's, a handful of things will help you win and a handful of things will help you lose, done consistently on a daily basis. What's something you could do right now that would allow you to say, you know what, I'm following my commitment conversation?
Like in this moment, like right now?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but like right now in this moment, but I know like in general, overall, like I could.
You have your journal in front of you?
Yeah.
So I'd write down, I committed to asking a question and I did it. We forget that it's 1,000 years is made up of many, many seconds. And a second, you think a second is a long time or not a long time, ask somebody who's losing a loved one. A second is an eternity. So in this moment, you can choose joy or you can choose misery. Commit to joy. Commit to taking care of you. Commit to saying, if you say something in your head, there's been a dozen things this morning already. You said, I'm going to do that. And you've put it off to some future moment.
Why are you in my head, John?
Well, I don't know. It just happens that way. Who you are speaks so loud, I don't need to hear what you're saying. Right? You've said you were going to do a dozen things already while you were on this call and you haven't done them.
Yeah.
Some of them simple enough to do right now.
I did, well, one, I started writing in my gratitude journal.
Awesome. Did you write in it this morning?
I started this morning.
Okay, cool. So what are you grateful right now?
I said I'm grateful for my misfit family.
No, right now.
Oh, right now.
That was this morning.
I mean, this was like while we were on the call.
I know, but like right now, though, what are you grateful for? See, that was old. That's an old story. I don't care how long ago it was. We've been on the call for 2.5 hours. That's an old story 2.5 hours ago.
I'm grateful for the breath that I just took.
Excellent. Write it down.
Okay.
So what changed in your body? Your body just had a chemical change. What did you just feel?
It felt kind of like a release.
Mm-hmm. And there's a part of you that also said it was cheesy because, well, I'm writing down. I'm going to do it because Sean's telling me. I'm thankful for my breath. This is what I don't. Yeah, I guess I am.
I mean, I know I am because not everybody just took somebody just took their last breath. You know?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So when we start to become grateful, the darkness goes away. And when the darkness goes away, we start to shine brightly. And when we start to shine brightly, people start to come into our life from places they've never seen because they're in the darkness. They can see your light. But when you're in the dark, they can't see your light.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay for your light to shine bright. I don't care what sign you are. It's okay for your light to shine bright. So your forward-facing message. Tell me your story. Tell me, how old are you?
I am 25.
Awesome, 25. And the flag behind you, is that the Bahamas? Where's that flag?
Haiti.
Haiti. So Haiti. Born here?
Yeah, born here.
Okay. First generation?
Yes.
Okay. So first generation Haitian, born here. What'd you study in school?
Health science.
Health science. Outstanding. How'd you do in school?
Pretty good.
Awesome. What do you want what's the activity you want people to engage with you that'll generate revenue for you? What's the point B?
Well, I mean, I know I've been working on myself.
Okay. But what's going to generate income for you? What's the thing that they can engage in with you? Do you have a network marketing business? Do you have a product or service, or you're not sure? You don't have any kind of revenue generating source right now, but
I don't have a revenue generating source right now, but I'm part of a network marketing company.
Okay. So would you like that to be the source they engage in, or is there another, you'd like to find another way for people to compensate you for your energy and experience?
I like to engage in that source.
Okay. So when I ask you what you do, what's your answer? And if you're not sure, you can always ask for help. You can say, I'm not sure. If you could give me an example, that'd be great.
I mean, I'm not sure, but I kind of thought of something.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, so I said I help people awaken to who they were born to be. Because I feel like I'm still working on myself, but I feel like I've come.
So how can you help other people if you're still working on yourself?
Because I've gained wisdom and knowledge along the way.
Excellent.
On the path of working on myself.
Okay, let's say you're going to engage me. I'm 54, you're 25. You really going to help me? Do you think, listen, just from a perception, right? Yeah. People who are who they are. Do you think I believe that you could help me?
Probably not.
Okay. So would you like to be able to enroll somebody like me in your business?
Yes.
Cool. Then your story might need to adapt and adopt.
Okay.
So you have experiences that most people don't, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the key is if you can get people to psychographically engage with you, because demographically, 25-year-old amazing women who have struggled in life in our first generation probably aren't in a place to join you in business. Could be. But when they join you in business, you have to then either educate them, and you're still working on that, or you have to engage them in a community of like-minded individuals, and you may not have the confidence to do that yet. So What if you could engage somebody and they could have a conversation with you that they said, listen, if you could do it, I could do it.
That would be ideal.
So maybe you might say something, say, listen, you know how most people right now, because you get to take advantage of the timing that's happening right now. Most people right now had their life turned upside down. As a 25-year-old first-generation Haitian, I've had to deal with a lot of struggles in my life. I'm lucky that I've been able to find a group of people that have allowed me to deal with those struggles, but help other people who are right now who are struggling, no matter where they are in life, to find their path forward. How do you do that? Very well. Why do you ask? And do you have people on your team who have had the success that you're looking to have in your business?
Yes.
Cool. Do you have their phone numbers?
Yes.
Can you do a Zoom with them?
I could ask.
Cool. So I would do a Zoom with them and say, what's your story? Do you know people on those successful people's stories?
Not all of them.
No. So that's why it's hard for you. That's why you struggle, because you don't have the stories.
Mm-hmm.
I could introduce you, and this is just an example. I could introduce you to a powerful woman who in the last year has changed the trajectory of the way she generates income. She's been able to walk more in her walk with God. She's been able to walk more in her walk with income and producing income. She's been able to walk with more of creating a like-minded community of powerful women around her, that she's actually changed the trajectory of her family's future. Would you like to meet her? If I introduced you to somebody like that, Gina, would you like to have the opportunity to meet that person?
Yes.
Yeah. See, that's what you're going to have to become good at. When you're young, you've got to be a good storyteller. When you're old, you've got to be able to listen well. So I would encourage you to become good at telling the stories of the people around you. I would become the faster you become brilliant at being able to tell the stories, allows you to engage, and it's not about you, it's about the community. You guys hear me reference Socrates and Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius and my mentors. Nobody cares about my story. Y'all use my stories. You hear other people talk about my stories and the stories they've had in engaging with me. I very rarely, other than to add some credibility, 3-time #1 Amazon best-selling author, stood on stage in 30 countries, been translated into 40 languages. When somebody wants to come arguing, right, if they want to bring a knife to a gunfight, okay, I'll throw some ammunition out there, because we're not going to have a conversation. What's that thing? Never argue with somebody who's stupid. They'll bring you down to their experience and bring you down to their level and beat you with their experience. All too often, people can talk us out of our own dreams faster than we can talk ourselves into our own dreams. So why say it's about me? I know you want to help people, and you do help people, but the first thing is, you help people. Really? You help people? How are you helping people? You haven't even helped yourself. That's the human predictability. So if it's not about you and it's about this community, you know how people struggle. Now you've put everybody in this, you can talk to anybody about struggle. You know, I used to think I had a unique experience being a 25-year-old first-generation Haitian young girl in this community, in this world. But you know what? I realized we're all pretty much the same. After the last 3 months, a lot of us are struggling. I'm just blessed that a few years ago, however long ago, I found a community of people who helped me through that struggle on a daily basis to help me produce and create my legacy. Allows me to create some time freedom and financial freedom. I don't know if that'd be of interest to you. Probably not. Can you tell that story? can you say what I just said and be confident that you are all of those things?
Yeah, I gotta go back and listen to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And what I would encourage you is those people that you are going to engage with, to support you, to ask for help, find out if they have a Zoom room, find out when you could plug people into that conversation. After I get off these calls, when I keep looking at my phone, it's because somebody wants to do a three-way. It's because somebody wants to do a Zoom. Can we do a Zoom? Can we do this? And they'll know when I get off this call that we can do those Zooms, and it'll be the whole rest of the day. Does that help?
Yes, it does.
Yay! What'd you learn? What'd you like?
I learned that even though I want to help people, I may not be in the position right now to help people because I'm still helping myself.
Well, but you are in the position to help them, even though you are helping yourself, which gives you even more credibility because you're engaged in the act of helping yourself to teach them how to help who? Themselves. So it's not that you're not qualified, it's their perception of your qualifications. So if it's about a community, they'll realize how much you help them because you're the one that's helping them get into the community. You're the one that's granting them access to have to get beyond the red velvet rope to get into the community. So you are the one helping them.
Okay.
So that's what you learn. What'd you like?
I like the fact that I can leverage other people's stories while I'm building my own.
Isn't that cool? Right? Listen, I leverage our calls, the conversations we have on our calls, protecting the innocent, not naming anybody, but I leverage our calls every single day. Every single day I talk about our calls somewhere. And they're not my stories, but I got to listen to the stories. Awesome, Gina. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Dakaya, you got your hand up.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Man, I wanted to practice my forward engaging story.
Forward-facing story. Yep. Go ahead.
Forward-facing story. And so, wow, I've got so many notes. So I'm just trying to, pick my own brain and just find a starting point. So
cool. So tell me how old you are.
I'm 20. I'm about to actually be 21. I'm about to be 21 in 20 days.
So
I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. Only when you're 20 to go 21 do you say, in 21 days I'll be 21, not when you're 65. Yes. In another 30 days I'll be 66. Ain't nobody saying that.
It's funny because I just put a countdown on my story yesterday. Just doing that.
So when you turn 21, there's some huge things that happen.
Okay.
What are some big things that happen to you when you're 21? What are most kids excited about when they turn 21?
Well, the legal drinking and freedoms that we appear to have, I guess you could say.
Exactly. So you get to use that as a story. You'll get to use that for the next 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
This moment. Do you know how when you come to, do you know how this phrase they say when you become of age?
Yes. I'm actually reading Catcher in the Rye over now that you I don't know why. Well, I guess that's why I've been so drawn towards it, because I relate to Holden because I'm in that in-between stage right now.
Mm-hmm. So how many people do you think, and that's a key phraseology that you use, the in-between stage?
Yes.
How many people in the world do you think are in an in-between stage right now?
A lot.
See, you get to speak to them because of the in-between stage that 90% of the people you're going to talk to remember when they turned 21. Remember when they got those new freedoms. You know, one of the things that I do as a 20-year-old, soon to be 21-year-old, is the anticipation of the freedoms that I'm going to be given based upon me reaching this date on a calendar. you know, what I've
Okay.
done in business is that I've helped people who are in that in-between stage and are looking at a calendar and aren't too excited right now, because every day puts them farther and farther behind. I've partnered with some people who were able to take the next week and make it that week of excitement that you're going to be allowed to enter into a whole new way, a whole new level of freedom that you never thought possible before.
Wow. So I connect people who can make that next step more exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Right. So this, you're waiting for a date on a calendar to have your freedom.
Right.
Most people right now are looking at the calendar and fearing next week because it's another week out of work. It's another week. I'm not sure what business are you in. Are you in the trading?
Yes.
Okay. So so you get to leverage that. Right now, there's people who are in constant fear of the calendar. I'm excited about the calendar because I'm about to turn 21. That's awesome. Right. But most people can remember when they turned 21, what they did stupid or good or bad or different.
Right.
But right now, the calendar is not a friend to most people.
Oh, yeah, that's very true.
So you're excited about the calendar where most people aren't. Maybe you can give them back their excitement about the calendar.
Okay.
And you can work on that. You'll come up with different ways, but it's just a different way to look at it, right?
Absolutely. And I now I'm glad that you shifted me into that perspective. Oh, okay. That just got the gears turning.
There you go.
Okay. That helped a lot.
Awesome.
So thank you, Sean.
You bet.
I appreciate you so much.
I love you so much. I appreciate
I love you too, Sean. Thank
Yay.
you.
So just now that you have that, and that's right. So we've opened up a new perspective, and so you can just go down that path.
Okay. And
because you're 21. You're 21. What do most people think about 21-year-olds?
We're young and dumb.
So, but if you can relate to them, the excitement you have about what's coming up, where most people are not excited about what's coming up.
Right.
And now that you're 21, and then when you turn 21, you get to tell the story about the 20 days before, how you started the countdown clock, how it was during the time of the virus, how it was time of all of this stuff. Right.
Absolutely makes sense. And it's funny that you say that too, because I was like, my mom's birthday passed and my best friend's birthday passed, and they were like, well, my friend was like, because they have the same birthday. So she was like, I can't believe I'm spending my birthday in quarantine. And then my mom was just so happy and just excited to just get like her cards and her wishes on Facebook and stuff like that from her family and her loved ones. And I was like, just seeing like different perspectives on the same day.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right.
Yay.
Yes, I needed that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
We've got, and I'm never quite sure how to say it. Is it Annie? I don't know. I never know if the E is supposed to be said or not.
It's Anne, sorry.
Anne. Okay, Anne.
Hi, Sean.
Hello.
I'm from London.
Yes, I love that.
So it's the afternoon here, but good morning to everyone else.
Good afternoon, Anne.
Good afternoon. So I wanted to talk about my business story at first, but everyone else's conversation had me wondering about other things as well. So I don't know, I'm going to start off with my forward-facing story, I guess.
Excellent.
So I don't really know so I started in the network marketing trading thing like 3 months ago.
Okay.
I haven't managed to get any clients yet. I haven't sort of worked on that part of the business yet. I'm still learning. But I feel like I don't know who I am in terms of business. So for example, like on social media, I have 2 social medias because I'm a teacher as well. So I don't want my students kind of catching on to my social media. So my second account, it's purely for business. And I kind of use that to spread like more positivity and joy and things that I learn and try to educate people. but
Okay.
it's actually nothing to do with Forex yet.
Okay.
I don't really know who I am when I'm presenting to people.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about you.
So I'm 23, about to be 24 next month.
Okay.
I have finished university 3 years ago. I struggled a little bit in terms of knowing what I wanted to do and what gave me fulfillment.
Okay.
I took a SEN TA role at a school at a primary school, and I just loved being around children and impacting their lives. So I ended up wanting to become a teacher, and so this year I'm doing uni and teaching as well at the same time, but I'm doing secondary school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Growing up, what was a couple of things that stand out to you growing up?
I don't really have any positive things.
Okay.
I don't know why I don't have any positive things. I was mostly hurt a lot.
Okay.
Sorry.
You're okay. You're in a safe place. I love you. I appreciate you.
I love you too. Thank you. Yeah, I remember being hurt a lot by my family.
Okay.
And in school, I remember not knowing who I was in terms of I felt like I couldn't be me because I was told so many times to not be me.
Okay.
So I kind of not rebelled in like a in the convention of like drinking and clubbing, but I rebelled in the sense of like I knew who I was as I was growing up. So when I went to university, I was very, very harsh on myself. So I wouldn't let myself enjoy myself. And I would make sure that I worked extra hard to just prove to people that I was smart. I don't know who I was proving to.
Mm-hmm.
Just to prove to people that I'm smart and I deserve a place at the university that I attended. What else? I was happy when I was growing up. It wasn't like a terrible childhood. I didn't have anything happen to me that was like traumatic or devastating.
Well, from a physical sense, from an emotional sense, from a psychological sense, it's put a big ding in your life, but we'll get through there.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to listen. I don't want you to. You're this strong woman. You've had to protect. I don't want to say pretend, but you've had to protect this story that you're sharing with us from it leaking out by being stronger, by proving yourself. But this has had a significant effect on you.
Yeah.
It comes out in the essence of all that you do.
Yeah.
And this, I'm not good enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not broad enough, I don't have big enough hips or this, that, or the other. All of these stories at a subconscious level have been running through you for the past 23 years. And sometimes the distraction is the attraction so that you don't have to pay attention.
Yeah.
So first of all, and I know this is going to sound weird because we haven't spoken before, have we?
No.
Okay, so first of all, hear my heart, and this is may be tough from a guy, and you responded already, but I want you to hear it in your calm sense of mind. I do love you. I appreciate who you are, and right now you are inspiring everybody that's on this call. So this thing that you're not good enough, you have just changed the psychology of everybody who's listening right now. Their heart is pouring out to you because there's so many people. If you can feel her pain and you are going, I just want to hold her, I just want to comfort her, just type a C in the chat if you're somebody that feels that way. So from somebody that nobody has known, Anne, I want you to hear this, and I'm speaking to your subconscious right now. You have just inspired everyone on this call. You have absolutely connected at a heart level because of your vulnerability with every woman on this call, because every woman on this call has a story that's extraordinarily similar to that, even though you were raised in different time and space and location. So what you just shared is a huge part of you unfolding this story called Anne. Now, the story that unfolds, I can promise you, we're all going to be glued to the chapters, however long that takes. But in this moment, I need you to hear how important you are to all of us. You just made a huge difference for every one of us. Is it okay if you hear that?
Yes.
Is it okay if you accept that? That may not be as easy.
It'll take time.
Okay. So just know that we're going to smother you with love and gratitude, but from a distance, because it's hard right now for you to absolutely wonder. Because there's a part of your brain that's going right now, okay, there's got to be something else to this, because nobody does this. Every experience I've ever had in my life, it was that I felt comfortable enough. Somebody got something from me that I didn't know they were going to take.
Yeah.
That ain't here. It's easy for me to say that. Two things I have against me. One, I'm a guy, and the other one is I kind of run the misfit show here. But there's a part of you that has watched me engage with souls and saying, he just can't be like that all of the time.
Yeah.
And the answer is, kind of, sort of am. But you'll get to know that over time, because now it's directly engaging with you on a one-on-one. So first of all, thank you for what you just shared. Thank you for inspiring the people that are here. And what I'd really like to do is, RBP still here? Where's she at? Did she?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Could you just speak into Anne for just a second? I don't know what you'd say. But that's what I'm hearing, is that she needs to hear the kinder, gentler, right? To have a connection.
Yes. And so first of all, from East Texas to London. Wow. Isn't that kind of cool that we can talk right now? I know. I'm loving it. So I resonate with you on the fact that I didn't have any major childhood trauma physically.
Yeah.
Unless I had a few scuffles with my sister and she was stronger than me, but that was about it. But I had emotional scars from words that were spoken over me.
Yeah.
And I don't even know that they were spoken to hurt me.
Yeah.
But they were spoken from a place of different truths than what I needed to sit under.
Yeah.
And I adopted those. And what that ended up happening is in my teen years, I settled into those truths, and I allowed a lot of stuff to happen to me, a lot of choices that I wouldn't have made had I sat under different truths.
Yeah.
So I allowed, for lack of better words, it's exactly what it is, abuse in different various forms to occur to me. And then after that, in college and in a first marriage, a lot of abuse to occur because of the truths that I had adopted. And it was emotionally devastating, and it caused me to succumb to anybody else's truths that they wanted to speak over me, because I didn't know what my truths were.
Yeah.
And that's a snowball effect, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and before you know it, you're like, I don't even know how to break out of this. I don't know how to get out of this thought process. And I hear you that that's where you're at now.
Yeah.
But you also know deep down inside, you're this brilliant, amazing soul, and you have so much to offer. You just don't know how to offer it without seeing it through the truths that has been placed up on you and you've adopted.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
I feel you strongly in that.
Hang on just a second. And take a big breath. Because that just happened. Somebody could see you for who you are.
Yeah.
See through all of the coverings that most people don't get to see, because you're not going to be vulnerable with most people the way you have been with us.
Yeah.
And you were just seen for the first time for the story you've been hoping somebody would see you for.
Yeah.
And we now know you all of about 12 minutes. Listen, I need you, not that we're this good, that I need you to hear this. This is because you're that good.
That willing.
You're that willing. You're that soul that in 12 minutes allowed us to see the you've been hoping others could see.
Yeah.
But it was because you gave us this chance. You're hearing people are just like you. You're hearing Rhonda tell her story, and you keep saying, that's true. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, there's other people that are just as crazy as I am. The answer to that is yes. We've been waiting for you.
And you know what?
Sorry, I didn't want
to. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
There's another issue that I have. Like, I mostly get, I didn't actually uncover this. Someone at work told me this. But I actually get very, I don't know why, but I get very, how do I put it? I get very defensive around men. And I don't want to, because I'm obviously in business and it is very male dominated. But like any man could say anything about females, and it doesn't even have to be offensive, but I would be on the defense. Like, I'd be ready. I don't know why. And I know that not all men are bad. I know that. But it just, I don't know, like, I just feel like I always have to keep my guard up and make sure that, other women aren't getting hurt. So I feel like I have to defend everyone.
Is it okay if we start with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, this desire to protect all those. See, the key about the shepherd,
Yeah.
and Rhonda will tell you this story. Sometimes we have to leave the flock to save the one.
Yeah.
And the challenge is that the one that needs that help right now, that needs to be under that staff to know that it's protected, is you.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
RBP?
Yeah, so Sean said it exactly right. As long as you keep pointing fingers and saying you need to defend others,
Yeah.
it's going to take you longer to allow the truths that you need to let go of set free. And
sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
See, like, I get, because for what you just said, like, I even get defensive with my dad. And I know my dad doesn't want the worst for me, or my brother. Like, I see them in a light where I think men are sexist. And I shouldn't, and I don't know what bad experience I've had to determine all my experiences from all men. But like, even when my dad says, I don't know, like, can you make me a cup of tea? I'm like, no. Why do women have to make that? But he's just asking his daughter. Like, it shouldn't be a problem. But it is for me.
I struggle with that. I struggle with that. And what I'm learning, and I say that in the present form because it's a constant evolving, is I allowed my decisions to put me through some things that let me see the worst in the opposite gender.
Yeah.
So hear how I said that. And because of that, I have some skewed perceptions of the male gender.
Yeah.
But it's people.
Yeah.
It's not just those who have a different genitalia than me. It's people. It's just easier to hide behind the shield of man versus woman. It's harder to look in the mirror and hold yourself accountable for what you've accepted as definitions of you, that you know when you were a young child what you heard in your heart.
Yeah.
And that just hasn't come to pass yet. So for me, this is me, for me, it was easier for me to hide behind, he did this, he did that. And trust me, I've had some really, I probably make light of the experiences I've had with the opposite gender, just because I feel like it might not compare to others, but it's very significant. It's easier for me to hide behind, well, they've done this and they've kept me down and they've pushed me down and they've never given me these chances and they'll never give me these chances because I'm a woman, than it is for me to sit within myself and go, what exactly have I accepted?
Yeah.
And will I accept the fact that I've been my biggest obstacle from allowing the dream that's been put in my heart to come to pass? And yeah, Monique just said it. Having someone in your life to help you break that story and see that that's not your truth and that's not your true identity is huge. And that's what you're asking for today. That's why you were called to this call today, is you're ready for that moment.
Yeah.
And you said you're how old? 23? Is that how old you are?
23.
23. So if I could have done this at 23, I would have saved myself 23 years of false identity, sickness because of it, and pure health. So I'm going to encourage you, as hard as it is, if you have to connect with Sean one-on-one, you're welcome to connect with me too. Sean's very good at walking through an old story, because you're living in an old story that you know. It's like wearing the clothes you wore when you were 10. They just don't fit right anymore. And they're snugged in all the wrong places, and you look silly wearing them around. That's what you're feeling inside. And you're like, okay, I'm so ready to shed this. This is not who I am. I need to get out of this. I'm uncomfortable. And it's like a reptile shedding their skin. And you're willing to rub up against whatever you have to get that old skin off. And I need you to hear this from another woman. You're worthy of releasing that story.
Yeah.
And you're worthy of receiving the life you were designed to have, and you're worthy of the purpose that you were put on this planet for. And you are enough just as you are. You need not gain anything else to become who you're supposed to become. You have only a few things to do, and the biggest thing is letting go of the old story and the truth that you set under that keep you bound and shackled.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it again, though. In all your beautiful 23-year essence, you, Anne, are worthy. And I see you from another woman to a woman. I see you as worthy. And as you rise, I rise. And we take each other with us and all those that are around us. And I need your 23-year-old self to rise up and show up, because you encourage me and you inspire me, and I will learn from you. And we'll say it one more time. You are worthy, and you're valuable, and you're absolutely astonishing. Totally priceless. You need to sit with those words from another woman to you.
Yeah.
You are worthy.
Thank you.
I love you. And I say that with every ounce of my being. I love you. You have my heart.
I love you too. Thank you.
You helped us through this, Anne. With your permission, we'll help you through it as well, because together we're going to do this.
Thank you.
Now, we just flooded your subconscious.
I know.
It's absolutely and so here's the thing. You know, in an argument that maybe you've had from time to time with people, there's this thing called revenge.
Yes.
And your subconscious is going to look for the revenge for it. It went out for a biscuit and a tea, and it's going to come back to this new you. And it's going, I was gone for a biscuit and a tea. What the hell happened? I thought we had this locked down. We had this old story in there. Who was in charge when I left? And it's this little girl called Anne, who's about 8 years old, that said, well, I walked out on stage and I said something because they said it was time for me to talk and you weren't here. Yeah. So just be aware when they show up, you can giggle at them going, I knew you were coming. It's like, do you remember when somebody tried to scare you? If you ever have any nieces or nephews and they're like right around the corner, and they're trying to scare you, and they're going to go, and you're going to go, you scared me. You get to do that with this old story now. Every time it shows up and every time it comes in, it's going to go, oh yeah, but you're listening to a guy from Texas. First of all, you don't like guys. And you're listening to this woman from Texas who's got this crazy ass accent. I'm like, I don't know how anybody understands her. And this is going to be your subconscious talking about it. And all these people typing stuff in the chat shit, they don't know me. That's going to be the story that's going to show up and it's going to go, boo! And you're going to go, I knew you were coming for me. I knew you were coming. I knew you were going to try to, sorry, you went out for a biscuit and a tea. I heard the truth. Funny thing is I knew the truth.
So how would I still don't know what the old story is for me. What can I work on, or how can I work on trying to uncover that?
So the old story, so that will need some guidance because of how easily it triggered you. Okay. And it triggered you with an unknown.
Yeah.
I would encourage you probably first to have a conversation so that the subconscious isn't triggered. I would encourage you to chat with Rhonda. Okay. Because the venom that potentially exists in the guy modality, as much as you know that I love you and as much as you know that I care for you, when we get into the battle of the story, that's the unknown that will become known. It's probably best that my energy isn't there, because it can wire in harder and stronger that it was true. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to encourage you to have an initial conversation with Rhonda, and I can be on call and backup and on a Zoom or whatever, and jump in to help to see things because of not being attached to it. Because that's the biggest challenge that somebody has, is that we've all been through pain. Yeah. And one of two things happens in a typical conversation. My pain runs down my leg across the floor and up yours, and now you're taking on my pain, and we never get to yours. Yours runs down your leg across the floor and up mine, and now we're in misery together, and neither of those produces a solution that we started off the conversation with. Yeah. So if somebody can love you as much as they can love you, be as unattached to the horrors and the challenges that you're about to face, and just having a conversation. I say horrors because it's hidden somewhere. It's waiting to jump out and go, boogity boogity boo. And you need somebody that can sit there and go, oh, isn't that cute? That's an old story. All it is a story. We're having an argument with a story. None of it is in the room. And we call other people crazy?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. How are you feeling right now?
Released.
Okay.
A little happier.
Yeah. And say, I deserve this.
I deserve this.
Yeah, you do.
That's one thing I find really difficult to say to myself, that I deserve things, or I deserve good things.
So here's a question. Do you deserve a friendship with Rhonda Bird Parker?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you deserve
Yeah, you
do you deserve a friendship with Sean Murphy?
Yes.
Yes. Folks, do you everybody who's still here, you have been given a gift,
Mm-hmm.
a true gift of what people are facing out there. And I haven't seen Anne's picture, but I can promise you, listen, and Anna, I love you. She doesn't look like the mess that she presented here. Right? She's all put together. She's probably and listen, Anne, I got to tell you, there's a little bit of prejudice. It doesn't even sound like a problem with your accent. When you speak because I don't have your accent, so you have an accent, you're like, oh no, this is the way I talk. But when you express your concerns with your voice, I got to remember that there's an issue there. Because it comes across as, no, that's fine. Just another day. It's all good.
Really?
Yeah. And so and the reason I know this is because I've built in 35 countries. An accent can predisposition somebody to not be heard. Now, in your own community, in London,
yeah,
you're normal. But the reason that you've got to go outside of London to get this help is because we don't hear you the way everybody hears you.
Yeah. But do you know what? That's really funny. You said the thing about the accents, that I usually change my accent when I'm most uncomfortable. And I adopt other people's accents and I adopt other people's mannerisms when I'm in an uncomfortable position. So if I was to talk about my feelings, this is the first time I've talked about my feelings in my own accent. When I talk about my feelings normally, I adopt someone else's accent or I adopt a celebrity's accent just to, I don't know, like to cut me off from what I'm saying. But yeah, that's actually quite revelating, yeah.
Pretty cool to be able to show up on a call like this and have what just happened?
Thank you so much, Sean, and thank you so much, Rhonda. I will take a note of your WhatsApp, Rhonda, and I will be messaging you.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, please do.
It'll be a great day for the world, because when this unlocks and we get to sit in your glory and in your joy, literally all of us, the world will tilt a little bit closer to the sun, and it'll spin just a little bit smoother than it has in a long time. So I'm waiting on this awakening.
Oh wow, thank you. Thank you so much.
Did y'all just see what just happened? And you're trying to wonder, where do I find people? How do I connect with people? To have somebody who has had to put on a protective armor more than Wonder Woman ever could, more than Superwoman could, or any powerful woman ever could, right? Why is it that everybody gets a cape and Wonder Woman gets 2 bracelets and a rope? Anyways, but my point is that she's got this armor on, and it's against guys. So you want to talk about a prospecting conversation that probably wouldn't even want to sign up for. It can typically all be resolved if the essence of your love comes across. This is why I say it's the essence. Yeah, do I have scripts? Do I have experience? Do I have language? Yes, but I promise you, if I said any of that in a way that most guys try to fix things, she's so brilliant, she'd have come up with 75 reasons why she didn't have to have a conversation right now. And we'd have all accepted them. But she didn't. And I hope you see, I know enough to know when I'm not enough. And I use the power of my team, the leverage, be it a Brittany, be it a anybody, be it a Rhonda, you have to be aware that when people need a connection, sometimes all you can be is the connector. Right? God said, come to me. He didn't say, I got everything for you. I'll give you things to look at, the trees, the water, the earth. Why does all of this stuff exist? To bask in his glory and in his joy, to see that we're all a part of something bigger. You've got people on your team that make you a part of something bigger. Figure out their stories. That was awesome, man. Thank you. Love you for being here this morning. Thank you for letting us all get better.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sean and Rhonda and everyone who's been listening.
Love you, Ann. Love you, girl.
And the last hand up is Casey.
Hi, how's everyone doing?
Good, Casey. Welcome to the call. What do you think so far? This is like better than reality TV, huh?
Oh my gosh, yes, I am so grateful, and I feel, oh my gosh, just everybody opening up, being so vulnerable, and just about their experiences. I feel like a lot of the times, and it's so crazy because I was just literally talking about this yesterday, how, you know, everybody always wants to like put this guard up or put this cover up and only show their success, but they don't ever want to really dive deep, and everybody has like all these underlying issues that nobody ever wants to talk about or expose because they don't want to feel like a certain way or feel vulnerable. So it's good. Like I was literally just talking to my boyfriend about this yesterday, how it's like we need more people like that out there so people can feel more comfortable and understand that they're not the only ones with issues, or they're not the only ones feeling a certain way. You know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
yeah, so I'm like, I was so happy. I'm like, this is exactly what I needed this morning. So I've been on the calls until like 8 o'clock, because I'm like, I am going to ask my questions. I'm staying on here. I don't care how long it takes. Like,
I love it.
I am going.
We do test people's tenacity and persistence.
Yes, well, I'm here till the end. I don't care if I'm the last one. But yeah, so I'm really grateful, and I feel very honored that I was able to, you know, listen to everybody opening up. It just made me more comfortable. And I just feel like back to kind of how you were saying, like the story and how you were trying to get through the stories. That's something that I have been like struggling with, because I feel like a lot of times people see, or at least for me, I feel like it's like you always have to have like this crazy, like deep story to get through to people. You know what I mean? Like, and I think I heard somebody else in the story, like I didn't grow up and have like this terrible, you know, life or anything like that. But I feel like I do have a story that for me, like I want to impact people. I want to be able to, you know, have people open up and understand that they can connect to you, or understand that it's okay that they have these issues, and be able to open up, and that way to grow. So just trying to like find my story, I guess, or my backstory and my business like story, I guess. Like I'm having trouble with that.
So tell me a little bit about you. How old are you?
I'm 25.
Awesome.
I started like my entrepreneur journey or whatever about 4 years ago. I'm a hairstylist. So I was working at a salon, and just like I found out I was pregnant with my son at 21. So knowing that I didn't want to, I guess, keep working like that, and I wanted more for myself. And when I had gotten pregnant, it was like obviously out of the blue. So it was hard. I didn't really know the guy that I had the baby with, but thankfully we're still together. Like, it's crazy, our story, how we're still together. Everything is good, but it's like I feel like I need to have, I don't know, like I just feel like I have to have like I don't know how to explain it. But anyway,
where do you live?
So I live in PA, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Yeah. So born and raised there, grew up there?
Yeah.
Okay. So mom and dad, were they Pennsylvania, probably either teacher or blue collar?
No, my mom is a nurse, and my dad, he was like a maintenance, like maintenance stuff for like this company called Congress, but he was always into like, he did like other things, like he was really heavy in like stocks and, you know, real estate properties and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. So schools you went to, were they Catholic schools, private schools, public schools?
No, public school.
Okay.
Public schools, yeah.
So what's the for your forward facing story, your business story, what's the thing you want people to engage in? The trading?
Yeah, I do trading, but I also like my boyfriend, he's more into the trading, and I do like trading, and that's like the business I'm in. But I like the fact, because I felt like, we wanted to change for life. I wanted to be around people who could, help me break generational curses and bring generational wealth. And honestly, like the confidence and just being able to be put outside of my comfort zone. Because I told, like in the beginning of this year, I said to myself, like, I want to be somebody that people look up to. Like we see all these, famous people on Instagram or famous people or wherever, and they don't really have like the impact. They're kind of just there for like the fame and don't give anything back type of thing.
Exactly.
So, like, if people have like look up to all these people, like I want to be somebody that somebody looks up to and can receive knowledge and inspiration and motivation and support to. So like that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I was able to place myself around these people. And literally, just like you guys, like being placed into like this chat, like it's motivational people who are there to uplift you, to pour into you. And I want to be that for somebody and be able to open that door. I just feel like I don't have the not necessarily the wordplay or just like the things to say to get my point across, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And Dana, only because I just value your conversation, you unmuted. I didn't know if you had something to share or just, okay. No worries. Love you, brother. So, Casey, do you have videos up somewhere?
Video. Oh, I mean, I have Instagram, so I'll put like videos. And
No, I mean, like, do you have trading videos?
Oh, no. Well, I mean, not necessarily of myself, but I watch them through the company that I'm with.
Nope. I'm talking about you doing them.
Oh, no, I don't.
Okay, so you're going to start.
Okay.
Because that's the, yeah, did you hear that? And you're going to start only because of what you just said, the vim and vigor, the energy with which you shared it. People will fall in love with that. So here's your forward-facing story. Here's why people will go to those videos. Did you ever have something unexpected happen to you?
Yes.
Listen, most people, the unexpected happens and they're not sure what to do because they've got to respond quickly. Well, 4 years ago, I had something unexpected that I had 8 months that I had to prepare for it. 9 months I had to prepare for it. And it was the most mind-bending, nerve-wracking 9 months of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm going to do is walk you through the process of how to build a legacy. Over the course of the next 9 months, we're going to birth a new idea. And that new idea we're going to birth is you being able to stand on your own 2 feet, you being able to have a story that people are going to be excited about. And you're going to go on this journey with me because I'm about to find it out for myself. Who wants to join me?
Mm-hmm. Okay. And yeah, like I like that. I do like that. And it's like, and I don't know. I'm big too, like about like, I guess manifesting things, because that's another thing that's like, I want to start like getting out of my comfort zone and talking in front of people. And I've been able to do that. Like I was on this, I am women's call or whatever with like 600 people and stuff like that. But it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know why I feel like I have to have like something crazy, like, like had happened to me when I was younger for people to be attracted to that. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
It does. But the thing that makes you the unicorn now is that nothing did happen. So you're already further ahead. The other thing I would encourage you is do me a favor, take a big breath and slow down.
Yes, that's my problem too.
Oh, no, it's not a problem. It's a gift you have because your brain operates at a high vibration that you can absolutely solve a problem in 2 blinks of a snap. The challenge is most people can't hear the solution because you're going by at 90 miles an hour with the car door open going, get in!
Yes, exactly. Oh my God, that is seriously me. Like, I feel like I'm always, and that's another thing. I've always been like this. I feel like I can't sit down. I'm always go, 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 to the point where it's like I don't want to burn myself out either. Like, I really need help with like time management and understand. And that was actually one of my questions I wrote down. Like, how do you manage your time and feel like you're doing enough without getting burned out? Because I feel like I
here's
do
the
that all the
thing.
time.
So here's the thing. These calls are designed for an hour.
Uh-huh.
We've been on it now 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Right.
If my time management was about managing time, we'd have been done 2 hours and 21 minutes ago.
Right.
I'm into energy management.
Okay.
And when you manage your energy, you are always at the right time at the right place.
Wow.
So how old is your boy or girl, your child?
He's a boy. He's 3.
Yeah, he's 3. Has he ever done something that's pulled you off of a task that you had to focus on, right? It became urgent to solve the situation. Yeah.
Yes.
So you know this as a mother. You know how to slow down. You know how to actually stop. It's in the stopping that there's very little time in the stop for you. Because you'll be doing this, and then you got to take care of him. And then you'll be back to doing this, and then you got to take care of him.
Right.
So you understand the stop. It's can you enjoy the stop? And when you start to enjoy the stop and you change the stop from have to get to, people will begin to absolutely fall in love with your energy and your passion because they're in the stop and they feel useless around you.
Right.
They can't get their going because your stop is as fast as their full on go. So in order for people to relate, a couple of things might have to happen, could happen. One, listen, everybody knows you're high energy, but tell them, hey, listen, if I'm high energy and I'm starting to run you over, tell me stop, tell me slow down.
Right.
Because most people won't be able to do that. They won't be able to do that because they're afraid that they're going to get mowed over by telling you to slow down.
Right.
So the other thing I would do is the next time you sit with your boy, what's his name?
Kingston.
Kingston. The next time you sit with Kingston, see how many hairs on his head you can count before you get lost.
Right.
Because every hair on his head is precious, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So I would begin to count them and take inventory of them. And just something that you absolutely love and adore that means the world to you, just take inventory of it.
Mm-hmm.
And just be aware. Just see if you could do it for a minute. See if you can just count the hairs without a thought running in. And every time the thought runs in, start over. And just do it for a minute and watch what happens when you begin to fall in love with the moment, not the mission.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my problem. That's what I have to start doing is, and it's not going to happen overnight. You know what I mean? Everything is a process.
Well, it could, but that would be a highly emotional charge to your life that neither one of us would like.
Right. And just appreciating too, like sometimes I do have to think about like, where I came from versus like where I am today. Like, and it's crazy because then when I think about where I am today, I can remember the times where I was like, oh, I can't wait until, this happens, or even just the journey of me starting, like to be able to change the way I think about things, to be able to appreciate and show gratitude every day versus, a year ago, I wasn't doing this stuff a year ago. So just being able to, like you said, kind of like fall in love with the process or fall in love in the moment that you're in and not, trying to just keep going and going and going. Like you do have to sit back and you have to understand and appreciate, you did come this far and like give yourself a little pat on the back. And I think that's something I need to work on and understand that is a part of my story. That is a part of my process. And it does, you know what I mean? And it doesn't.
Absolutely. RBP.
Yeah. So Casey, do you mind if I just put out some questions that came to me when you were speaking? Is that okay?
Oh, yes. Yes, please.
Okay. So the questions that I wrote down for you are, what are you scared of thinking about if you slow down? And what haunts you? and you feel like it will consume you when you do slow down?
Oh my God. I don't know why I just got so emotional. Like, that's crazy. Well, the reason I really started like doing all this, I guess, is because it's like, I don't know, I guess it always goes back to like how my dad is, I guess. He, like I said, is someone who is very, so I have 2 brothers and 4 sisters, right? And growing up, it was like, my mom was always there for us, and my dad was like, he was there, but not really there, if that makes sense. So I guess just trying to prove and like understand, and I guess just like a lot of what my family is going through. And I feel like my dad, he was always there for my brother, or always wanted to pour into my brother with finances and just about life and stuff like that. And when it came to us, like as girls, it's like he always like counted us out pretty much. Like, we not like kind of like not like that we weren't good enough, but it's like it's almost like he didn't want to help us. He only wanted to make sure that my brother was ever going to, you know what I mean, move in his footsteps or be just as successful as him. Just like with his real estate properties, like he gave them all to my brother. He didn't want to help us like financially or be there and understand that way. So for me with trading, like I got into all this stuff, and I try to explain to him, because like I do look up to him for that kind of financial advice. But when it's like me on my different terms, showing him like I'm trying to make these steps to, you know what I mean, be successful or show my kids the right way or know that I am good with money, it's like he's almost like, okay, that's cool, but like not good in his eyes because I'm not doing what he wants me to do.
Okay, so let me stop you for a second. Take a big deep breath. Because we've hit kind of the source of where this is coming from, and it's kind of like the old faithful geyser. It's just pouring out, which is great. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's a couple of things I want to make you aware of. You keep mentioning the words generational curses, and I think when you sit quietly, that is what haunts you. And that's what you get frightened by, because as I hear you speaking, the one thing that you're striving for is your dad's approval and love.
Yeah.
And I think it's taking precedent over your own self-awareness and self-love and self-care and self-approval. You are so addicted to what he wants you to do and his approval of you that you've left yourself out in the cold. And when you slow down, the young little 7 or 8 year old Casey is over there going, I'm right here. All you gotta do is talk to me. But when you talk to her, it sinks you into the feelings you have of not living up to where your dad wanted you to be and his approval. So you blow by it at like Mach level 7. And as long as you do that, you don't have to sit with it. And the reason I'm telling you this is I hear strength in you. I hear strength and determination. And I hear the capabilities of one day becoming highly vulnerable and influencing thousands of lives because you're engaging, you're likable, you're lovable, and sincerely want to help others. Casey, the best way you can help others is to have some personal conversations about your addiction to approval of others.
Yes, exactly. And that's
learn
exactly
learn to identify the source of your approval and the source of your identity. And the reason I'm speaking slowly is I am speaking to your subconscious to slow it down for a minute and realize as you begin to think about this, that lurking sensation of, oh crap, it's going to come up and I'm going to cry, or I'm going to get mad, or I'm going to be depressed for a week. That's what's lurking. And it is, although it feels real, it's an illusion to keep you in your old story, to keep you attached to high speed. There's nothing wrong about being driven, but high speed, unable to hear what's going on inside yourself, is what is keeping you stuck. So your strength, oftentimes, your biggest strength is your biggest weakness. And most people, that's what it is.
Right.
And as you detach from that old story, that strength becomes redeemed, and then it's used and it's loaned out to others so they can rise up.
Right.
But you speak of generational curses. You haven't been on this phone call with Sean before, so let me share with you something he shares with us. And he can go into more detail about it. He can tell you a story behind it. But your DNA, the DNA you have is from your mom and your dad. And the DNA your son has is from you and his father. So you're connected to both your dad and your son. If you want to break a generational curse, slowing down and getting out of this addiction to approval will not be passed on to your son. But if you continue at the high rate you're going and you pay no attention to the level of addiction to approval and don't put anything in place to break that, sweet girl, you're going to pass that on to your son inadvertently and wonder why in 17 years he's acting the way he's acting.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
And as a mama, because I'm speaking to you woman to woman, I'm speaking to you mom to mom. As mom to mom, you want to do everything you can to give that little boy a leg up even higher than you had to get started with.
Right.
Ironically, that begins with helping yourself first.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
you can only pass on what's inside you. And he's intertwined with that. Sean will tell you more about that. But he's entangled with your energy and your DNA. So every emotion you feel, he feels.
Yeah, exactly. And then on top of it too, it's like I try. So a lot of the things is what I do is because I just see how kind of like how the subconscious works, like when you're younger and your parents, drill stuff into your head and then you become, insecure or not confident or whatever the case may be. Like I see that as well, like through my sisters, for my dad, because he did at the end of the day do a lot of damage like when we were younger. And I feel like now that we're older, like especially for my sisters, especially for my older sisters, and even my mom, because they're not together anymore, just because of how like mentally abusive my dad was. But he went away, hiked the whole Appalachian Trail, found God, and is now like this totally different person. But it's still, I feel like nobody was ever able to heal from before any of this happened. So thankfully, I was able to be aware of those kinds of things and, kind of change my ways. But I really see like my sister still damaged, my mom still damaged. Like I see that kind of stuff. So the things I'm doing is trying to I feel like I'm the only one that's going to be able to get us out of that shit show pretty much, I guess you could say. And so me trying to be strong and me trying to change my ways and be positive and be, on that going on the right path to be able to help them so I can, get us to where we want to be and bring them along with. But they're taking it as, oh, you found this newfound confidence and, you think you're better and all this and that and the third. And it's like, how do you continue to try to be positive and know that it's not you, trying to be too good, but to help them?
Well, your energy your DNA is also your sister's DNA, your brother's DNA, your mom's DNA, your dad's DNA. And the reason I'm telling you this, and Sean will explain the experiment later. It's not an experiment. It's actually been proven. As you change, you feel this burden that you need to change everything for everybody else. And in actuality, all it is the change inside yourself as it occurs. It will change everyone else, and it will also change your perception of what everyone else is thinking and feeling, because there is possibility you may not be exactly right about how they think and feel this situation is. But because you are so strong in your heart, it might be that that's what you're displacing on everybody else. It might be true too. I don't know what you lived through. But I do know this. As I have changed, my relationship with my family and my sisters have changed. And I don't know that they have done any changing, but I know that I have. And because my DNA is connected to their DNA, it gives them a path for change to occur, or for at least a perception change to occur. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I just hate when they, like, I feel like they get the, like, the wrong message of it, and it's just, like, so bothersome, because it's like, okay, at the end of the day, like, if you really knew, like, you would understand that, first of all, I'm so far from selfish. Anything that I would get, I would give to them more than I would give myself, but they think it comes, I don't know, like, I don't know why it comes off to them, like, a different way, and I don't know if it's because, you know what I mean, they're feeling some type of way about themselves, and I don't know, but I also don't want to say it like that, because I'm not trying to come off like that
Right.
way either.
Well, let me help you understand what you just said too. You just said a whole lot of addiction to their approval.
Yeah.
Do you see how you said that? Because you're still concerned about how it's going to come off to them. And that goes back to your addiction to approval. And the reason I can say this is I'm one of the most generous souls on the planet. And all my life growing up, my family spoke selfishness over me. And I couldn't understand, how in the world can you be selfish? If you come into my room and ask me for a shirt, I'll give you a shirt. I'll give you my favorite sweatshirt if you ask for it. And they kept saying, you're selfish, selfish, selfish. And then that stemmed into high school. And then I just lived under this cloak of selfishness. And it was all an illusion, because I was addicted to their approval of me.
Oh, wow.
Addiction to approval is really, really bizarre and strong. Like, it held me captive. And that's part of what's lurking around you, and part of what's haunting you when you think about slowing down, because you can't understand why everyone sees you the way they see you. That's because you're worried about how they see you. You're addicted to how they perceive you and how they see you. So it's like you Jones for it, but you don't want to. So it's like this crazy place in your head where you're like, I don't care what they think about me. Oh my gosh, what if they thought this? I don't care what, they don't know me. They don't know my heart. Oh, but what if this is going to happen? And this addiction, it's just like a drug addiction. It gets you in a place of going back and forth, and you don't know how to get out of it. And that's one of the biggest things Sean's helped me with.
Wow, that's so crazy, because it's like, when I think about it, it is like I can think of multiple, situations that I was like seeking approval, and it's true, because, wow, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it'll cause us to make decisions that we would have never made, because at our subconscious level, it's going, but you need their approval. You need their approval. You need their approval. And so then that's what you seek. And then you make decisions, and you find yourself in a result, and you're like, what the John? How does someone like me end up in this situation? And how do people speak things like that over me when I know what my heart is?
Right.
It's because your heart is good, and you know what your heart is. You're just addicted to approval. And it captures all of us, even the strong ones. It captures us. And let me tell you, let me give you some hope here. As you begin to identify your addiction to approval, and you begin to come out of that addiction, and Sean is who's helped me do that. The freedom you get is unbelievable. And you finally get to sit in your true essence. And people begin to call you what the truth is about you, And what's crazy is you first won't accept it. And then as you do, it's like sitting in warmth that you've never sat in before, sitting in love you've never sat in before. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I need help getting there. Thank you so much. That was amazing.
Did that help?
Yes, it did. It did, because I didn't think of it like that before, but it's the truth. It really is, and that kind of explains, like you said, why I'm always like go, and never can like sit down and appreciate myself, really. And I'm always wondering, like I said, it's like I feel like, am I not? And that's why I feel like I'm always fast paced all the time, because I feel like if I slow down, it's like I feel like I'm not doing anything. I feel like I'm not doing enough. So it does make sense. It all goes like hand in hand with each other.
Right. And so that's what is going to go hand in hand with, as you break this addiction to approval. If you go back and listen to some of the other recordings on Sean's YouTube channel, you'll hear him say a phrase, and this is very hard for you to wrap your mind around at the moment because your action taker likes to be on the front stage in your thoughts. He has taught me how to do less and become more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I sit in more and more of that, more and more of my true heart is revealed, and more people come into my life that I get to love, and I get to sit in sincere love and truth. And it's flabbergasting. It's mind-blowing freedom, happiness, love, everything you could attach to it that's positive.
Yes,
So,
I can't wait.
Yeah, maybe a few conversations with Sean or me or both of us, and we can gently escort your action taker off the stage and let Casey show back up, and we can have some conversations with Casey,
right,
and get some freedom from your addiction to approval.
Yes, I would love that.
I'm super proud of you. I want you to hear something too. Your voice has totally changed. Your strength in having to speak has totally changed. Your cadence has changed. And there's a gentleness coming out of your mouth, even though it's still filled with strength. There's a gentleness that's coming out of your mouth that makes all of us want to lean in and give you a hug.
Oh my goodness, thank you.
Casey, I'm so glad that Rhonda was able to walk you through that. I'm actually on another training call with 34 amazing souls down in Latin America. So that started at 10. So that's why I jumped off. But I just appreciate you. And Rhonda, thank you for stepping in. Thank you for being helpful. And I can't wait to see this. And I did hear your voice change here from the beginning to now, Casey. So congratulations on stepping into your own awareness and your own awakening.
Oh, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. That was seriously what I needed. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Can I just say,
real quick, Casey, my number's in the.
Proud of you.
Thanks, Steph. Thank you. Stephanie's the one who put me on this call, so I'm very grateful for her.
I'm just so proud of you because I met you in London for the first time, and I'm just glad to see you evolve and see you grow.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We love our Stephanie.
Yes, we do. She's amazing.
Aw, love you guys too.
Okay, y'all. Guess what? We get to do this in less than 24 hours.
Yay!
Tomorrow morning, same bat time, same bat channel. I'm Sean Murphy along with an amazing group of misfits, and I'll see y'all where? At the next event. Y'all send some love to each other.
Love y'all.
Love y'all, my
Have a great
misfit
day.
family.
Love you
Everyone have a
guys.
blessed
Love
day.
you guys. Have an
Love you
amazing
guys.
day.
Have an amazing day.
Have a great day. Bye.
Love
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, Ralph. Love you, brother.
Love you too.
Love you all. Have a great day.
Thanks, RG. Thanks, Leo.